million or something?
I think he's more than that.
Is it?
He's the highest paid ESPN employee ever.
I want that Stephen A. Smith money, so I'm just going to start saying what he says.
Yeah, let's see what Stephen A. is making.
Got to be something to that, right?
Looks like he's getting about $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Good God.
5-year contract,
Be nice.
$100 million.
For that?
I'm okay with it. For what?
I don't know.
Just being loud?
Yeah, pretty
It's
much.
going to be my new bit.
I mean,
Apparently it's a bit that works.
it's one of those things. I say this about, like, it's the same thing about, like, content creators or OnlyFans models or whatever, the Kardashians. Like, he has to have something. I don't know what it is, but the man gets attention. Otherwise, every dip-ass that yelled and screamed, which is like 1,000 people on the radio and TV, they'd all be Stephen A. Smith.
No, there's a reason he makes what he makes.
Yeah, so there's a reason. I mean,
I'm not begrudging.
eyeballs.
I'm just saying, I mean, he's not my cup of tea, but whatever.
No,
He's
that's
obviously
one of
got
those-
an audience.
Yeah, it's one of those that I just sometimes I scratch my head, but at the same time, I try not to dismiss that.
Yeah.
That's like dismissing,
Exactly.
like, I don't know, like Morgan Wallen right now is like the biggest thing in music. I, for the life of me, can't figure that out.
Who?
The guy that shouts the N-word and now he's like the
He
biggest
threw
thing in the
a
world.
chair off the top of the
that
bar
guy.
in
Yeah, I don't-
Nashville. Or
I know
whatever.
him more for that.
I
Yeah,
don't-
Morgan Wallen, I think.
Wallen, whatever. I don't know. That guy's like the most popular thing in music. I can't get it, but he's obviously
Well,
got something.
You know, there's a lot of people who think Big Sook's a joke,
It's possible.
and they're like,
Yeah.
"Why? I don't get that that stupid show."
Yeah.
What the
20
hell's
are you
that
going
about?
there? 20 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, you know, whatever. Hate away. I don't care. Listen, Stephen A. Smith. Okay, so if I come on every day and just have a little 2-minute diatribe of how's your water? Is that good? Energy.
Water. Yeah.
Well, what is it?
That would be a let's see, an ultraviolet zero sugar monster. Delightful.
So if I come on here and like, okay, so I was just Googling.
Yeah.
Just to see what he says,
Mhm.
or to see if anything comes up. You know.
Yeah. Like, what's the latest thing that?
Yeah,
he's...
the latest is Stephen A. Smith warns the WNBA about its biggest concern while Caitlin Clark is out with an injury.
Caitlin Clark is white.
So that's where he earns his money. He's like, he has to like pretend to care about that kind of thing.
Caitlin Clark is white.
So tomorrow,
He has to pretend to care about a lot of things.
right? So tomorrow, I am going to have that take right out of the gate,
Oh,
and we'll see how it goes.
I like where this is going.
I can see dollar
You
signs,
love your hot WNBA takes.
and I might scream it. You know, you
really do.
you might be careful.
You gotta crank it
I'm
up.
coming in hot tomorrow.
Well, that's the problem.
Not
you gotta,
today, though.
You got to be like, what is that? What was the Greco guy or Al Greco?
Who?
Remember, there's a Dan.
Al Del Greco?
No, who was
was
the
a kicker.
host?
Yeah.
The New York host that was
Oh,
always.
Dan
Oh,
Le
Don
Batard?
LaGreca.
Oh, Don.
Yeah.
Oh.
You gotta be that guy.
That guy.
That.
Who the hell are you?
That guy.
That
Yeah,
You piece of garbage.
You piece of human garbage.
Boo his ass.
Yeah, you really
you have to really care.
Are you kidding me?
gotta be that guy.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So if you work on that, try to mix in some Stephen A. with whoever the hell that guy is. You
Boo
combine
his ass.
you combine those two things, and now that's where
By
you get your
September, I'll be the white Stephen A. making $20 million,
$20 million a year.
Just-
Who the
Stealing his-
hell are you?
stealing his takes. What show is he on? What do I need to watch?
I don't know.
He's got his own podcast.
He's on.
I think
so
he hosts
much
First
stuff.
Take. He's also
Well, you make $20 million. He's on
all
everything.
the NBA coverage that
He
they
does.
do.
He does some of like their boxing and UFC stuff. He did
Ugh.
some football stuff for a while. And
No, thank you.
remember his hot football takes? I'm not sure which is.
Yeah, wasn't
I don't-
he was like talking about
It's
he has like
Hunter
a
Henry, who
notorious
was
segment
out
where
all
he's like,
year.
with Hunter Henry banged up, they're not gonna do, and it was like he hadn't played there for
Yeah,
2 years.
He talks about people that are no longer there and people that have been out
Yeah,
for the
that
entire
happens.
year with an ACL tear, and and when you watch like when he does some of the fighting stuff like boxing and UFC, I'm not sure which is worse, but when they're paying him $20 million, you're putting his ass in front of things. But if you put me in front of like if you threw me out there and said I need to talk about MLS, it'd probably be the same thing. You're like, oh hell, like you just ask someone to give you like 3 notes of something, and then you can only go back to those 3 things, and one of them's wrong, and then you look like a fool.
So you try to fake it.
Well, I mean, if they make I don't think they're asking him, hey, do you want to do the NFL? They're like, hey, dumbass, we're giving you $20 million. Go talk about the NFL.
Well, then how about this? Watch the NFL.
I think, honestly, and this is my defense of Stephen A. Smith, I think it's nearly impossible to ask someone to be, because he's getting paid to basically be an expert opinion. and
about anything.
about everything. And I just think
That's a red flag right there.
I just think it's impossible.
Well, it is impossible.
So, they're setting him up to fail. So I don't even think that's a I don't even fault Stephen A. I mean, I think he looks like a clown a lot of times when he does that stuff, but I think that's on ESPN. You're setting him up. You're putting a man in a land of soup and he's armed with a fork. You can't. He can't succeed. Maybe if it was like some sort of minestrone, you could stab at some noodles, but that's just not going to be something that works on a day-to-day basis. And then he gets clowned and everyone's like, "Oh my God." But then it still generates clicks. I think with Stephen A and ESPN, anything he does, good or bad, that is the definition of any press is good press. Because I think it's eyeballs.
That's right.
And he can't get discredited. ESPN's not going to toss him away for anything he does. And so he can.
Well, and he's going to win every argument, or at least he's going to have some sort of theatrical thing when he's going up against Kendrick Perkins from day to day.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, if you put a normal person on coverage of something, they're going to have to try to earn credibility. Stephen A already has credibility of being Stephen A, and then he really doesn't need credibility in anything else because it doesn't matter to him. It's like if I had this over the weekend, if you are in a conversation with someone that does not care about facts or the truth, that conversation is going nowhere. And that's him. Like, you can't attack his credibility because he doesn't have
It's all his opinion.
Yeah, it's all an opinion. He is very knowledgeable about the NBA. I'll give him that.
Clock is white.
And outside of that, he's just a guy that yells and screams, and you can't beat that.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is my new plot to 20 million. Buckle up. But starting tomorrow. Today I'll just be me.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But tomorrow I'm going to be a totally different sports host.
Oh boy, I'm going to have to buckle up for that one.
For you guys.
That's a 10,000 watt blowtorch, or I don't know what the big wattage is. Remember that? Like, I don't remember that.
For the signal?
Yeah, I don't know what's a good signal. I may have said 10,000 and that's like a curling iron, but whatever the big wattage, like blowtorch, that was always something back in the day that Furness would say. He'd be like, it's a 50,000 watt blowtorch coming at you.
How's that guy doing?
Oh,
should get him on.
He's up there doing
talk hockey.
Iron Furnace. Hey,
Kraken.
No, they
yeah,
suck.
He's a Kraken guy.
Yeah, but they're terrible.
Right?
Yeah, we talk about my Oilers. Come on.
Yeah. Did they win?
2-1.
I have a hot take.
Big one tonight.
Wait till you hear my hot take about that
Oh,
tomorrow.
I can't wait.
Even though I didn't watch it.
Hot Stuart Skinner talk.
Who?
He's their goalie. He's got a good mustache. You'd like him.
I do like him.
No.
He's part of my diatribe tomorrow. Wait till you hear it.
Can't wait.
That is segment one of a best of Isaac and Suk. Yeah, some big news overnight. I mentioned it in the update, but right after we got off the air yesterday, the Blazers traded Anthony Simons, the longest tenured Blazer on the roster. He was the last of the Neil Olshey era. They send Ant and 2 second-round picks to Boston. In return, they get Drew Holiday, the 3-and-D man, an older veteran presence, more left on the contract, 3 years, $110 million. And considering the news of the day, also the Matisse Thybulle picking up the player option news, I want to talk a little Blazers in this best of. So coming up next, some past segments about free agents or guys who could become Blazers. That's next on this best of edition on 1080 The Fan.
Check out the Fan Merch Locker.
There's a lot of people. It's like Woodstock, except everybody's got their clothes on.
We have a new iconic 1080 The Fan logoed hoodie for you.
Whenever you get one, you feel good about it.
You can still pick up the classic fan t-shirt that says,
It's over! We think.
Time a best of edition. Ryan Buckley here with you as the boys are out at the 11th Fan Golf Classic. Big Blazer news last night. Ant Simon's out, Drew Holiday in. And in this best of edition, I'm going to talk about some Blazer roster options from conversations we've had over the last month or so. And we'll continue with this one right here.
Well, I think it's 80 out there right now, isn't it?
I don't know, Jerry. I like when you go Seinfeld for no particular reason. I do know that. What is the deal with that?
Also, when you say the date for no particular reason,
Yeah.
I have a little panic that I should be starting in the news and I don't have it ready.
You can fire it off if you want.
No, I don't want to, but when you're like, it is May 27th, I'm like, whoa.
People can't handle news at 3:20.
Only 79
No.
out there right now.
Yeah, had to turn the sprinklers back on. Still don't have that hedge trimmer though that I'm looking for.
Oh, I
So,
had somebody text me about that. We may get you hooked up on that.
a hedge trimmer.
Yeah.
Oh,
My landscape guy texted me.
hot hedge trimmer.
I forgot to get back to him, though. He wants to know what you want.
It's a hedge trimmer.
Yeah. Should we just call him right now in the air and get that all squared away?
Just kind of square this away right now. Yeah, but yeah, the sprinklers had to come back on today, and it's one of the,
I do know.
It's that time of the year, man.
We've got a game 4 tonight. Are you excited about that?
Hockey or basketball?
Basketball.
No,
Really?
I am not.
Why not?
Uh,
Pacers Knicks pretty good.
because I got hockey to care about.
Oh.
All of my, I will say that the
Whoa.
Nakers.
Whoa.
the Knicks and the
Whoa.
Pacers. I'm just combining them with the Nakers.
Oh,
That does get my attention,
Dangerous.
got our attention too.
but hockey takes precedence over me. So if you're asking me which one I'm more excited about, in between caring about the Stars and the Oilers, then I will switch over to the Nakers game and see if that interests me. And then if it gets into the fourth quarter,
Careful.
I will care again. But,
It'll be good in the fourth quarter.
I think so.
Right? I mean, hasn't
Well-
every one of those games been good in the fourth quarter? Am I
No,
wrong?
one has not. So
Which one? Because the other one was like
Game 2 wasn't.
Last game
right?
was.
Yeah. So game
Pacers
1
blew
had
them
the
out.
crazy comeback, and then
yeah.
game 2 was not, and then game 3 was.
That series is kind of bananas.
Yeah.
Kind of fun.
yeah, it's been fun. And if you're sitting there and you're in New York, like I don't know what you make of it because you could sit there and say I can't believe we let game 1 get away from us, but the Pacers are saying the same thing about game 3. They were up by 20 and they let that one go away. So I don't really know what you make of that at this point. You've had 2 massive blown leads, one on each side. And then you had the one that was competitive, but Indiana just was able to close them out, and there wasn't a lot of huge drama involved in that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, this idea though that like when the Knicks went down 2-0, that this series was over was ludicrous. Like obviously, you come back and you win game 3, and now you win this one, and you even the series, and then you're going back to New York. I mean, this is
the
everything.
series tonight.
I mean,
Yeah. Who wins tonight wins the series.
I think that's right.
well, I mean,
Pacers go up 3-1.
like
They'll win.
Minnesota last night had a chance to make that a series.
Yeah.
That was a 1-possession game down the stretch. Oklahoma City shut the door by making free throws, and now it feels like it's an insurmountable lead. But
No, I saw SGA miss one.
I've never understood this idea of being down 2-0 is a death sentence. It's tough. 3-0 is the death sentence.
Well, what is it? The series hasn't started until
I guess
I guess they did win.
they did win on the other's home court.
I also
but
think no team's ever come back from 0-2 when they dropped their first 2 at home.
That's never
which
happened.
the Knicks did.
Knicks could do it, don't you
Yes,
think? In this
absolutely.
series?
They
If they win tonight, they can.
yes.
Yeah, got to win tonight.
So Indiana is not some sort of dominant team. I think when you look at this, the Final Four, the best team is clearly Oklahoma City. When Oklahoma City puts their foot on the gas, that is the best team left in the playoffs. It's the best team all season long. It's just a matter of, do they have letdowns, and does the youth kind of rear its ugly head there? But again, New York and Indiana, I think that's the definition of 2 heavyweights swinging at each other. And I think that's anyone's series. And it would shock me absolutely none if New York evens this thing up and we go back to New York 2-2 with all the momentum going in New York's favor.
I have one other NBA headline for you before we move on to college football. And it is that the Portland Trailblazers may have interest in the great Chris Paul. Is this truth?
Gross.
Another undersized guard? God, yes. And this one's like 40.
He is not like 40. He's 40.
It's actually pretty neat.
He plays all 82 games. I mean, I don't
Not
know.
usually, but this year he did.
look.
This is from Sam Amico.
Yeah,
Is that
Sam Amick.
Amick.
But this says Amico. Are there two different guys?
Oh, Sam Amico? Maybe
Amico. Yeah,
there you go.
Hoopswire. There's two. So there's Sam Amick
Yeah,
and there's Sam Amico.
Amico. Yeah,
I
forgot
don't know,
about him.
man. Like,
This is Sam Amico.
are we just
Here's what he says. He writes for Hoopswire,
sure.
and he said the Blazers are among the teams that could have an interest in Chris Paul should he not return to the Spurs. Portland GM Joe Cronin has suggested he likes the roster as currently constructed, though those around the league have said the Blazers would like to add a veteran guard to mentor Scoot Henderson. Paul is not expected to be back in San Antonio.
Does Chris Paul want to be a stable pony for Scoot Henderson on a team that's going nowhere fast?
What might
Chris Paul want to go to that lake?
Does
Maybe
wanna
he
go?
does want to go that lake.
I don't know.
What might Chris
I'm
Paul
going to that
want?
lake.
This is the question.
Well, I would assume
Is he a ring chaser type guy?
he doesn't have one. So
Yeah.
I would assume if you're Chris Paul, one of two things. Because if you wanted to stay and be a mentor to a young team, why wouldn't you stay in San Antonio where you have actual, like, seemingly a lot of upward trajectory, and that you have a couple young guys, including the most exciting young player to come into the NBA in 15 years, and you're going to add the number 2 overall pick? Why wouldn't you stay and mentor that as opposed to going to Portland?
I don't think they want him.
They don't want him, so they're just going to move on. Because I know they're probably
Yeah.
going to draft another guard. They're going to draft, Bailey or Harper, but I don't know. I mean, if he doesn't come back, I just don't
They
know.
pick second, right?
Yeah, they pick second. I just don't know why.
Those bastards.
That just seems like an odd fit to me. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I can see why Portland wants him, but do we still at this point need another mentor for Scoot Henderson? Isn't that why you have Chauncey Billups? That he played that position, and Chauncey called him out last year, and that kind of led to the maturity thing. And I don't want another guy that's taking minutes away. My God, if anything, I'd like to get rid of guards, not add more.
Chauncey's 48.
Yeah,
So he's only 8 years older.
It's not much different.
Both
So-
pretty good.
So I guess I can see from Portland's standpoint why kind of you'd want that. I just don't know why. If Chris Paul is just looking for a place to play basketball, there has to be a better place than Portland that's going to win 38 games next
Yeah.
year. What? I mean, it just
So it
makes
sounds
no
like
sense.
San Antonio can give him some dough, but he wants to play, and
Yeah.
they just won't.
Okay.
They're moving on.
Okay, so we're going to bring him here and then take away minutes from
Yeah,
God.
according to Sam
Can we
Amico or Amico.
That just doesn't make any sense here to me whatsoever. But
Well, we'll see if they do it.
at this point, I'm not going to.
You don't even care.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I have my finger on the pulse of what Joe Cronin's thinking. But I'll tell you what: if that happens, watch them draft Colin Knippel and then sign Chris Paul, and me to raise my hand and just be like, "What in the living hell
Guys,
is
move
going
on.
on?"
And watch a fair number of Blazer fans do backflips over those moves.
Oh yeah, dude, the Chris Paul move. The guy said on the text line, and he's right. If the Blazers sign Chris Paul, buckle up for Blazer fan to go. Just that small segment of Blazer fan to go crazy over it. Be like, oh yeah, dude, what a move.
Chris Paul. I mean, I'm gonna look and see what old Chris. 'Cause I know he played every game last year. So in the age of 39, Chris Paul, he gave you a whopping 8 points and threw about 3 boards, and he dished out 7 assists.
We all know what he is at this point. He's 40 years old.
He's
He's
40
a
years old.
veteran, savvy point guard, a Hall of Famer who can teach the youngs
Why?
a
Why
thing or
do you
two.
want to give? Why do you want to take away 25 minutes away? Do we need someone to take minutes away from the young guard? But if anything, those guys should be playing 40 minutes a night.
Or can he really take on one of those Udonis Haslam, DeAndre Jordan roles where he just really sits there and does not ever
And
play?
that's my point. Does he want? That's why I said, do you want to be a stable pony?
It doesn't sound like it. Sounds like he wants to play.
Yeah. So
Which
I
is
don't-
why
Why here? Yeah, that's weird.
That's why the Spurs, they're probably gonna part ways.
Well, and he spent a lot of time in Phoenix and
Ballers
LA
ball,
and
dude.
Texas, and maybe he just wants some of this Pacific Northwest weather. maybe he's yearning for state taxes and just cold, dreary weather.
I would
Long-time Nike guy?
I would love to see his face when they told him, "Hey, you're going to the Blazers."
Yeah, it's like
Instant call to his agent. Like, what are you doing?
The answer to that is no. Yeah, someone saying, are they trying to correct the? I think it was the Martell Webster, right? If I'm not,
That's
I'm
right.
not mistaken.
Yeah.
If I remember
They
my
traded.
my Blazer history, they had an opportunity to draft Chris Paul,
and they traded it,
and then they
traded
got
back
Martell Webster
for Martell.
Hey, and Martell Webster, I think he still
No.
lives around here. I think he's a local guy. But
Okay, but whatever. He sucked.
I don't think he sucked.
I think he did.
Was he Chris Paul? Probably not.
Oh my God. Are you really comparing Martell Webster to Chris Paul? Jesus. Give me Martell's best season.
I'm looking to see where
I see you Googling. Let me see.
No, I'm trying to go through the draft and see
Oh.
exactly how that went down.
I'll go look up Martell Webster's stats.
So, you got Andrew Bogut went 1, and then Marvin Williams, who people thought was going to be better than he was.
Marvin Williams.
And then you got Darren Williams, who was actually good for a period of time. He went to the Jazz. And then, then it was Chris Paul, Fat Raymond Felton, who eventually became a Blazer.
Oh, dodged a bullet there.
And then came at number 6,
Martell
Webster.
So they had the 3 pick, right?
They had the 3 pick, and they traded with Utah.
So they could have had Darren Williams.
They could have Darren Williams or Chris
Paul.
Paul, but they ended up with Martell Webster.
That's another one that gets kind of lost. Now remember, they had, but part of that is they already had. Didn't they already have Roy, Brandon Roy?
I'd have to.
Which is why
I think they had a guard on that. I don't remember who it.
Well,
who
I
it
thought
was, but there was a reason why they
like
went away from
you can. I don't know, but
you can't justify.
You can
that.
justify them not wanting a guard at that point, but
in hindsight,
that one is lost in history of amongst all the boneheaded Blazers moves, and there are a lot of them. I was explaining that to someone the other day who wasn't familiar with the Blazers at all. We from out of town. We were talking about, and I'm like, dude, you don't know. The Blazers have had 2 of the biggest draft whiffs of all time.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, well, they drafted Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan and Greg Oden over Kevin Durant. I said, find me a franchise that has 2 bigger whiffs.
Well, and to be
and
fair,
he's like, oh my God, I didn't even know that.
I think when you add in, I think Chris Paul and Martell Webster probably deserve that.
It's
discussion.
a top 5er.
And by the way, they did not. So that they would have passed on that due to the drafting already of one Sebastian Telfair.
Oh, is that what it was? They already had Telfair?
They had Steve Blake, Juan Dixon, and the great Sebastian Telfair.
Why would I think that Brandon Roy was drafted before Chris Paul? Was he? No,
Roy,
because he's not.
No,
No,
he's old, but
he's in his 30s.
He's not 40 years old.
Yeah,
but
Martell best season 11.4 points, 3.9 reebs. And the old fella shot 42% from 3.
Roy came in 2 years later. He came in 06-07.
Not bad for 3.
Yeah, but that season was in Washington, not in Portland.
Well, look, they had Martell Webster and Steve Blake, for God's sakes. They didn't need a guard. They needed Martell Webster out of Seattle Prep.
Well,
so
lost to history.
Yeah,
right or wrong, bring back Chris Paul. Right a wrong, do it now.
20 years later,
bring him back.
Yeah. Hey, look. The nice thing about Martell Webster is the other 2 draft boners make yours just kind of go away.
Yeah, no one really talks about it.
No, it's kind of the best thing. You just kind of can quietly just slide underneath the radar and no one has to talk about it. Like,
hey, he made money, right?
Remember when they took Martell Webster over Chris Paul and Darren Williams? Everyone's like, no, man, it's all about Durant and then the Jordan thing.
Martell Webster career earnings.
Oh, I made a bunch. 105
really?
maybe?
45 million.
47.5.
Whoa.
I thought he made way more than that.
No.
He never got that big.
That was back in the day of,
oh, yeah.
You had to work a second job and you only made $10 million.
I thought he got a one of those ridiculous fat second contracts.
I don't think so. I mean, he played 11 years. I mean, he didn't.
No,
he wasn't a flame
That's
out.
shocking to me that he played 11 years or in parts of 11
well, he
years.
was in Washington for like 6 or 7 years.
I thought he would have gotten one of those,
He didn't make much there.
I guess the money wasn't the same back then, but...
No, it wasn't. All right, there's enough hot Martell Webster talk for you guys. You're welcome. Blazers are interested in Chris Paul, according to one guy named Sam. But not the guy named Sam that you think. Coming up next... college. Okay, so here's the thing. It's a touchy subject now. Okay. College football playoff auto qualifiers.
Yeah, we're not quite going to get to the auto qualifiers, but we are going to get to more Blazers talk because recently there was yet another name brought up for a potential Blazer free agent signing. We'll get to that next, but first, a SportsCenter update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, lots of Blazers news on the eve of the 2025 NBA Draft. On Monday night, the Blazers traded Anthony Simons to the Boston Celtics, along with 2 second-round picks. In return, they got Jrue Holiday back. It's his second time with the Blazers. Simons was the last player on Portland's roster from the Neil Olshey era. He'd been with them since 2019. Holiday has 3 years and $110 million left on his current deal. Meanwhile, Blazers small forward Matisse Thybulle has picked up his $11.5 million player option for the upcoming season. Down in the Big Easy, the Pelicans are sending former Blazers C.J. McCollum, as well as Kelly Olynyk and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the 40th overall pick in tomorrow night's draft. On the gridiron, another recruit gets away from Dan Lanning and the Ducks as QB prospect Ryder Lyons is committed to BYU over Oregon. And the Mariners are looking for another win in Minneapolis tonight as Luis Castillo takes the hill for the M's at Target Field. Chris Paddock is on the bump for the Twins. Cal Raleigh now sitting on 32 home runs after 5 dingers in the last 4 games. He is 1 for 6 lifetime against Paddock, but that one hit is a home run. First pitch tonight from Minnesota at 4:40. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley, it's the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
More, please. Golf in the Northwest with Jason Swigart. with Isaac and Suk on 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back to a best of edition of Primetime as the boys and the rest of the staff out at the Fan Golf Classic, the 11th annual, out at Langdon Farms. Going to continue on with a little bit of Blazers talk, but first, a couple comments from both the YouTube and the text line. You can follow us both of those places today because I am here. I will answer. Barrett asks for a quick would you rather. A, get traded to the Wizards, or B, just retire. As long as the check's clear, and I think I'm still taking the Wizards. I actually really like D.C. as a city. But yeah, that's got to be tough for C.J. McCollum, a veteran. It's not like New Orleans was great for him, but going to Washington has to feel pretty helpless. And then also someone from the text line asking, are we sure that we can't bring back Carmelo Anthony? No, we're not sure of that. In fact, coming up in the following segment, we'll actually assemble a brand new Blazers squad with some perfect fits. But first, another Blazer that's been rumored to possibly be joining Portland.
This one tracks because, it just seems like a player that the Blazers would maybe try to buy low on.
Sure.
And get. But Buckley sent me this today, and the Blazers are the odds-on favorite to land this guy. He's a former number 3 overall pick, and I will read you what Hoops Hype wrote about him.
Wait, the number 3 overall pick? So he's already in the. I thought you were talking about in the draft.
No, this is someone they would acquire either in free agency or via trade.
Can I point out that no one, and I mean no one, does failed draft picks and then tells us that they were former lottery picks more so than the Portland Trail Blazers.
That's why I said this really tracks. This is something you could see the Blazers trying to do, go acquire this guy. But Hoops Hype wrote this about him and his NBA career so far. They said, because they redraft. Hoops Hype does the thing where they redraft years later based on how the player did in the NBA. And this guy fell only to number 6.
Okay,
so he's not a bust. But he's not.
He's kind of a bust for where he was drafted, even though he's decent player.
He's made $85 million.
Yeah.
They wrote, that's not to say he hasn't been a very good player since arriving in the NBA, but his poor finishing near the rim and his inconsistent outside shooting have prevented him from making the turn from good to great. Still, he hasn't been a bust by any means, and he's made a lot of money in his career, so there's no way he can be labeled a disappointment. He's just been surpassed by some other players in his draft class. The Blazers are the odds-on favorite to land the great, or perhaps the mid, the better than average, R.J. Barrett.
All right.
Doesn't that sound like the Blazers?
That 100% sounds like it. And they'll tell him that he scores 20 a night and, whatever. When's the last time R.J. Barrett moved the needle for anybody? And I mean that, anybody.
So the Blazers are plus 205. The Wizards plus 260. The Nets plus 325. And the Suns plus 400. So it's anybody's game.
Sure.
But for some reason the Blazers are.
R.J. Barrett is he's the definition, like you said, of the. He's just mid. He's fine. He's the definition of fine. If he is your 4th or 5th best player on a championship team, great. But like when he was in New York and was in Toronto, what did he mean? He means nothing for middling teams, and Portland is a middling team. So unless Portland is going to grab him and then in the next 2 years become a contender, stop with the RJ Barrett stuff. Why?
They say that the Raps may want to trade him and Emmanuel quickly for a significant roster upgrade. So
let me just get this straight. So again, the Toronto Raptors, who last time I checked,
the Raps,
not very good, correct?
I don't know what their record was.
Yeah, they're not good.
I don't follow them.
Yeah,
what was their record?
The answer to that is not good. They didn't make the playoffs in the sorry-ass East. So does that tell you something about where they were at?
30-52.
Yeah. So the sorry-ass Toronto Raptors want to get rid of him to make significant roster upgrades. So they
Sounds like a Blazer.
So they won 32 games. How many games did the Blazers win?
30
something.
36.
Okay. So we had 4 more wins than the Raptors, and we would like their player that has empty numbers and doesn't move the needle, and that's where we're cool. Everybody.
Well,
awesome.
I don't know. I mean, look, there's nothing to say. To be fair to the Blazers, there's nothing that says that they want him. It's just that for some reason the Blazers have been placed as the odds-on favorite to get him,
Sure.
which is very strange.
Yeah. And by the way,
but also not.
Yeah, this is
He's
I'm
just
looking
like,
at his numbers. He was the 8th in voting for Rookie of the Year, and he gives you 20 points a game and whatever. And I guess that's why stats to me, like, there are so many guys like RJ Barrett in the NBA. There's just a ton of them that give you anywhere from 15 to 20 points a game and give you a handful of rebounds, handful of assists, and they just don't mean anything unless they're depth pieces. And my God, Portland has enough depth pieces. Can we try to find a way to acquire people that move the needle?
All right, coming up next, the race is off, unfortunately, on the Fan.
One more Blazers segment coming your way, because after we've discussed both Chris Paul and RJ Barrett, we need to assemble an all-new Blazers team. That's coming up next on this best of edition of Primetime with Isaac and Suk on 1080 The Fan.
Yeah.
Guys, move on. We've got to bifurcate those two things.
You're a loser. It's actually pretty neat.
I'm going to go to that link.
Welcome back to a best of edition of Primetime. The boys out on the golf course today, Langdon Farms, the 11th annual golf classic. We'll get some tales from out there on the show tomorrow. But right now, we're going to continue on with a little Blazers talk. And we take a trip from the serious into the deeply unserious. And we build for you, starting with some enigmas in John Morant and Zion Williamson, a whole new Blazers roster.
Hi. What's your name? Are you a balloon?
I'm not a balloon. I don't know where Lynch got that, but it's a great drop.
Yeah, it sure was.
Hi, I'm a balloon.
Hi, I'm a balloon. Bye.
Someone
Of
out
all
there has to know
things
the
that I
context,
could
right?
be, a balloon? Light as a feather? No.
Hey, so we had another surprise trade over the weekend.
Yeah.
And that was, and I mean, look, yeah, it's Desmond Bane.
I know.
Nice player, but I mean, come on, is that really that big of a deal?
Well, it's like when Bridges got traded, he went for 5 once, never made an All-Star team. Desmond Bain has never been an All-Star, and he got traded for 4 picks and a swap. So, I guess, Orlando clearly thinks he's the third component to a championship level team. You got, Pablo, and then old Franz, and now
they do need some scoring.
And I guess you get, you can't shoot for a lick. So you had a guy that shoots like 41% from the 3, and
outside of Pablo, look, all I'm saying is we would probably not be talking much about a Desmond Bain trade.
Yeah.
Were it not for just how much Memphis got in return.
Yeah.
How much the Magic gave up.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
4 unprotected ones.
We keep getting told that like this new CBA, it's like we need young, cheap talent on rookie contracts, and yet people are still like, here's 17,000 picks. I don't care.
We don't care.
We're gonna win. We're gonna win now.
No, I saw somebody talking about it, and I think it was one of the Laker guys on social media saying, we really got to stop overreacting to the quantity of these.
You want quality, right?
Of these.
The picks.
Well, not just the picks, but just the quantity of assets that go in a trade, and really look at the quality over the quantity. And he's right about that.
Because Orlando was what, 41-41. They play in the crappy East. They add Bain. They think they're going to be a top 3 seed in the East. So most of those picks are going to be in the 20s. And what do you think about a first round pick in the 20? You're like, the Phoenix pick should be good because Phoenix is going to blow it up. They're going to stink. So you think that pick's going to be good. But for the most part, those are late first round picks. But again, I've been told and again, I'm not a super NBA guy, but I keep getting told that second round picks and late first round picks matter now because you have to build young depth. Well, apparently no one cares, because every time you hear that, then someone trades a bunch of picks and they're like, well, those don't mean anything anyways. So, for a league that was supposed to not be able to compile players and big threes anymore, it feels like everyone's still trying to get big threes and big 4s.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of GMs who just, particularly if they're close or think they're getting close, they don't care about draft picks. I mean, that's the one thing they'll pay you.
I guess
a million of them.
Is Orlando close?
I think they feel good about. Well, and the other thing was Pablo Banchero came out and he was frustrated.
Yeah, he
said, "Give me some help," and he's awesome.
Yeah,
so they have to listen to him. If you want to keep him happy.
You went out and got him,
and they got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope too in his contract. Oh my God, have you seen that dude's deal?
No,
they gave him he has $50 million left on his deal. I think 2 years.
Hey now.
What?
Well, welcome to the world.
Who the hell paid him that much? God.
I think he won. He won a title in Denver. I think that's.
Yeah, but he's a role player.
But that's the thing is, he's a role player in Denver.
Well, he's a role player. Period. He always
he's like microwave bench scoring. It's like it doesn't feel. I know he can start, but that just does not feel like that's worth it.
Yeah, he got a 3-year. Let's see, what'd they pay him? That old son of a bitch. They paid him.
Well, and then for the Blazers, people were bummed because everyone always thought that the Anthony Simons to Orlando was going to make sense because they needed shooting and they needed scoring. So the fact that they gave up 5 first-round picks, I'm assuming that Anthony Simons is not going to Orlando. So.
It's actually pretty neat.
Searching. What exactly are you searching for?
I just wanted to see Caldwell-Pope's deal. 3 years, $66 million. They gave him. What a terrible contract.
Yeah, it's a lot of cake.
He averages 7 points a game. It's like the new Myers Leonard.
Well, I think the idea is I guess
with inflation, Leonard got $10 million a year back then. Yeah, with inflation, $22 million a year. Yeah, for a role guy.
Well, and if you're bringing him in to be a role guy for Memphis, does Memphis feel like they're close? So you're
no, I think. Well, see, there's the other thing is
Memphis getting ready to deal Morant and just go through a screw it?
I think there are some people who think that, and that's where I bring up. If you're a Blazer fan, would you?
Yeah, someone was saying.
Would you?
I didn't hear everything, but Danny and Dusty were. I guess Anthony Simons had posted some. He had posted some.
Are we doing a cryptic social media thing?
Yeah, there was a cryptic social media thing, and so people were somehow. I don't. social media. It's like, oh my God. I hate when players tweet or like post cryptic things, and then when people infer what it is and the players are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, hey, Dip, you knew exactly what you were doing.
Or or get frustrated like they're out of line for asking. Then don't put something out there.
But yeah, there was some sort of thing the question was, is Anthony Simon saying that John Morant is the next target for the Blazers? And the answer to that is yes.
Why wouldn't he be?
It was like a gun emoji or something.
I don't care. If you have the ability to go out and get John Morant, who made Memphis a top 4 seed, yes, go get John Morant.
He's a nice player, but he is
he's an idiot.
Grade A bonehead.
Of course he is.
I don't know that you want that.
It's better than
well, that's where we're at. No, I don't think you need John Morant. I mean, you do need John Morant's ability, but I wouldn't go after John Morant.
Come on, all the gun-toting ways, he'll fit in great here in Portland. What are you talking about?
No, he won't.
Yes, we've done it before. We're all about
exactly.
that. Let's do it.
That's exactly what pissed off half of your fan base.
Bring him back. Let's go. Come on, Ja.
Put him with Derek Queen.
Yes. Bring it on.
Although to get him, you probably have to trade the Derek Queen pick.
He do pay us the money.
Well, I'm assuming to get Ja, it would probably be Denny would be involved. I mean, and
the big Denny Avdia.
And here's where Blazer
superstar.
Here's where Blazer fans are going to get.
What a joke.
Ja Morant is an all NBA player. Yes, Ja Morant comes with some baggage, and Blazer fan will be like, what are you talking about? Denny's better than Ja. So what about Sharp? No. You never deal Shane Sharp for Sharp. Are you kidding me? You know the potential? Meanwhile, you've got an all-NBA player, and I promise you, like half of Blazer Nation thinks that Denny and Sharp are both better. They're like, you know what we'll do? Anthony Simons straight across, done. There's your deal. Anthony Simons and 1 pick, and maybe we'll take John Morant. Dude, John Morant is so good. Yes, he's an idiot. But John Morant is
I don't want him.
Really, really
I think
good.
you got to take the chance to get him on the straight and narrow if you got it.
Yes.
What if I could give you Zion? Zion. You build around Ja and Zion.
I want no part of Zion.
I don't want any part
None.
of Ja.
I would have way more of a part in Ja than Zion. Ja at least seems like he can keep himself in basketball.
What if the Blazers got them both?
It would be fun.
It'd be fun?
I'm not
You
gonna
think
line.
that'd be fun?
It would be fun.
It'd be frustrating because Zion would never play.
Yes, it would be, but it would be for a brief moment. It would be so tantalizing. But yes, to me, I understand that Ja is a bonehead, but there is a big difference between Ja Morant being a jackass and Zion, who can't keep it in his pants, seemingly has a new sexual weird porn star lawsuit thing happening every other day. And he also can't keep anything edible out of his mouth. And he just never plays. No, I want nothing to do with Zion. Ja is an entirely different animal.
Do you think that if you added the IQs of Zion, Ja, and Derek Queen, they would equal Steph Curry's?
Probably not. I'm guessing no.
No.
And there would be why I don't like any of them.
I understand. Totally understand.
Ja, I could get far more behind than Zion, though.
So the idea is that Memphis may, because it was a stunner of a trade, so they may now be pulling the chute.
Yeah.
And
there was some talk when, remember,
just stockpiling picks and trading Ja
and doing the Oklahoma City thing.
Restarting.
Dude, if Desmond Bane gets you 5 picks, what does second-team All-NBA Ja Morant get you? Oh my God. And there was some talk when Nico pulled the trigger on Luka. The scuttlebutt was they just did not believe that Luka was worth the supermax, which is what you have to pay these guys. And I forget who it was, but one of the NBA scribes said, keep an eye on Ja Morant in Memphis, who is in line for these new supermaxes. Dude, they're going to be paying guys like $80 million a year. And they said, keep an eye on that, because there is some people in Memphis that do not believe that you can entrust Ja Morant with whatever, $80 million a year. And they said, if Morant ends up getting dealt, it's going to be another Luka type situation where they're like, we just can't tie our future to this for years and years. And so, all of a sudden we come here and there's some, scuttlebutt here. Maybe Morant is indeed a 20. How old is he? 20
dumb.
20 dumb. Yeah, a 25-year-old All-NBA player that could be available.
Now, Jaren Jackson, I'm in. If you can get your hands on that guy.
Yeah.
He's nice.
Someone say, yeah, Nike would keep John Line here in Portland, right?
Oh, yeah,
I just
sure.
think having his dad, T. Morant, on the sidelines would be electric. Him his stunner shades.
Hey,
Did we not learn anything?
We haven't had anything interesting with that Blazer team in years. Say what
Fire
you will
it
about,
up.
Say what you will about Zach Randolph, but the Hoops family was at least interesting. We got a little Rob here, guns in the locker room and some late night races and occasional dogfight. You know what? Let's make Portland great again. Let's assemble them all. Let's just assemble a team full of sketchy characters, mix them in a pot, and see what happens.
What? That could be fun.
Yeah.
But I think we know how that ends.
Be great for us, though, right?
Yeah.
Wow!
Well, the Jailblazers were wonderful for our business.
Let's go.
For sure.
Let's put together, what is the all-sketchy team in the NBA that we could assemble?
I think, I don't know about sketchy, but I think Derek Queen, they are in line to maybe get Derek Queen from Maryland.
And by all accounts, that dude's a grade A yes.
Oh, dude, he is a, yeah.
He do pay us the money.
That's him.
That's him.
And then Ja, for sure. It has to be attainable, though, right?
Yes.
Zion, for sure.
Yeah. By the way, you could go get Zion right now for a ham sandwich from New Orleans. They don't want anything to do
Who
with
else
him.
would be on that team?
I'm trying to see. That have that are just oh man, you went out and got him? I'm trying to think.
You put that team together, okay?
I know. I'm working on it.
Kyrie? He's kind of straightened things out.
Yeah, he's kind of figured it out though, right?
I think I'd want Kyrie.
Yeah, he's less of a problem now. He's just kind of damaged goods through the injuries.
Yeah. Trying to think. We'd have to get maybe a Jordan Poole.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, who's the dude for
Ooh, how about this? What if we got Jordan Poole and Draymond Green? We reunited them back.
See, I want Draymond Green. I like him.
Yes, but it'd be even better with Jordan Poole. We combined them. Let's go.
Maybe throw a Dylan Brooks in there?
Yes,
Oh,
let's
there
go
you
get Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks and Draymond. Let's see how that goes.
See, now we're talking, boys.
Who's
With
that dude?
Ja and Zion?
Is Kelly
Come
Oubre? Isn't Kelly Oubre kind of viewed as a?
Ooh. What about Beef Stewart?
Ooh, he's
Dude,
out there.
who punches everybody?
There
Big
you
man
go.
He's
for
out there
the-
throwing out lefts and
Ivan
rights.
Stewart, right there.
No, it's not. It's not Ivan. It's
I thought it was Ivan.
Isaiah.
Isaiah Stewart. Yeah, that guy.
Go get some Kyle Kuzma to go along with it too.
Oh my God!
Everyone hates Kyle Kuzma.
You want the ultimate give up?
Yes.
Get Kyle Kuzma.
Look, the young folks of Portland. Let's add Josh Giddey to this mix.
Oh
right?
boy.
Why not? Be a big fan of the Portland nightlife. We throw Giddey in there. I like where this is going,
I don't.
dude. I am
And you
all
shouldn't.
I am all for this 100%. And then we get you need to get one. Isn't Chris Paul looking for a team? We go.
Wasn't he interested in Portland?
We go get Chris Paul to be the leader, the voice of reason.
And then for the balance, you think we get a Jared McCain who does the nail polish and the TikTok dances just to kind of even
Grayson
things?
Allen's got to be out there. Where's Grayson Allen now?
Ooh.
We go get Grayson Allen out there.
Watch
do you think
Paul.
do you think we could get Westbrook?
Watch
Oh,
Paul. Well, yeah, they
he's
said
available.
He's going to opt out. Watch Paul and Billups lead them to a title. And they were like,
Yes.
all they needed was a little guidance
And
from
I'm-
two great point guards.
It's actually pretty neat.
And I'm not certain, but I believe I saw a list of NBA free agents this offseason, and I believe that Ben Simmons is one of them.
Oh, yes.
Wow, what a team we're putting
Dude,
together!
this
And
I
you
am-
could get all of that.
Who
for
wouldn't want to watch this team?
You could get all of that for next to nothing because
Dude,
nobody
I-
wants any of them.
I am so all over this. Yes, Ben Simmons is a free agent.
There's our point guard.
Make Portland great
The
again.
all
Let's
Enigma
go.
super team.
Bring back. Is Bob Whitsitt still alive? Bring back Trader Bob.
What about
Let's
the Birdman? Can we get him out of retirement?
deal some meth?
You know,
Yeah, go
All right.
get. We rehire Neil. He's still around here somewhere.
yeah, we'll bring Neil back and tell him what to do.
We've got to bifurcate those two things.
Give him an edict. All right, we'll be right back on the Fan.
Guys, move on.
It's time.
Well, clearly we have the best idea for the new Blazers roster construction, but we will take a departure from basketball. Coming up next, talking about a little bit of Cal Raleigh. He's been absolutely on fire, and we talked about his MVP candidacy not long before this massive week where he's had 5 home runs in 4 games. Let's talk about that next. Primetime, Best of Edition, 1080 The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, lots of Blazers news today on the eve of the 2025 draft. The Blazers do have the 11th overall selection in tomorrow's draft. On Monday night, though, the Blazers traded Anthony Simons to the Boston Celtics, along with 2 second-round picks in exchange for Drew Holiday. Simons was the last player on Portland's roster from the Neil Olshey era. Holiday has 3 years and $110 million left on his current deal. Meanwhile, Blazers small forward Matisse Thybulle has picked up his $11.5 million player option for the upcoming season. Down in the Big Easy, the Pelicans are sending former Blazer C.J. McCollum as well as Kelly Olynyk and 2 future second-round picks to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the 40th overall pick in tomorrow night's draft. On the gridiron, the Ducks lose another recruit as quarterback prospect Ryder Lyons has committed to BYU over the U of O. And the Mariners are looking for another win tonight in Minneapolis as Luis Castillo takes the hill for the M's at Target Field. Chris Paddock is on the bump for the Twins. Cal Raleigh does have one career home run against Paddock. First pitch tonight from Minnesota at 4:40. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley, the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
What's the most resilient parasite?
Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Can build cities, can transform the world, and rewrite all the rules.
That's what I'll be doing every single night.
Which is why
No!
I have to steal it.
What are you talking about, Willis?
This is Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
It's gonna work. It's passable, okay? This isn't terrible.
The best in local, regional, and national sports. With no hidden agenda. Primetime with Isaac and Sue on 1080 The Fan.
All right, hour number 2 of a best-of edition of Primetime with Isaac and Suk. In typical Primetime fashion, we are already running behind. Got some more fun stuff coming up for you later in the show, including some of my favorite Joey Harrington interviews, a couple of them happening recently. And let's see what else we've got going on. We will have a club hour for you that includes finding arguments in public and testing the guy's spelling bee. And we're going to keep burning and turning right here, though, because we are behind. We're going to keep it continuing next with another one of my favorite opening segments, but we will do that following this break.
The Portland Trail Blazers are for sale.
Oh my God, this is
Welcome back to Primetime, a best-of edition with the boys out at the 11th Annual Fan Golf Classic. Running a little bit behind, but getting on track now. Some of these best-of shows, my favorite segments to run are the very first segments from previous shows, and this one did not disappoint. A first-time life experience for one Jason Sakanik, and boy, things got interesting.
Do you know what the bright side is?
What's the bright side?
You got to go to Bimart Lucky Number Tuesday.
I did. I experienced my first Bimart Lucky Tuesday.
That would not have happened had you not gotten sick.
No. And let me tell you, I have never been to a Bimart. This is first time. I think the only time I went to a Bimart is when we did a show out at Bimart in Damascus. That was me and I believe the Great Iron Furnace.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
No.
So just to reset,
Yeah.
I've been talking about my trips to Bimart with my father-in-law every Tuesday.
You and Dick on your way to the
Yeah,
Bimart.
Dick.
Yeah.
He went today, got a little tired. I didn't go. I had other stuff, but he got a little tired.
Yeah.
Our Bimart trips are winding down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
You'll always have Bimart.
yeah, like
Did he win the raffle today?
I don't know. I didn't ask. I haven't gotten the update yet. My wife and I are like two ships passing in the night.
Yeah.
But
There's things happening.
But the president of Bimart is a huge fan of the show.
Yeah.
And so we'd been talking about Bimart for a long time. And I love Bimart. Dude, Bimart's like the greatest place on earth. Especially if you're 70 or north.
Yes.
And the president of Bimart, based in Eugene, I think, was up here on business, and he dropped off a membership for you.
I am a member
out of the
Bimart
blue.
now. Yeah,
he was
an
like,
exclusive club.
Give Big Sook this membership.
Yeah.
So now this was your first trip.
This was my first trip
to Lucky Number Tuesday, and Tuesday's the only day to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go any other day, and there's fewer olds, but you want to go on Lucky Number Tuesday because your Bimart card number could win you something very big.
Today, up for grabs, there was a cordless vacuum. There was some lawn furniture that was available. There was an assortment of chips that were also that were available to win. Now, I am sorry to inform you that no wins.
You didn't win.
I did not win. But I specifically went today because it was Lucky Number Tuesday. And there's, like I told you, there's this little Hawaiian joint. And that's where I realized a couple times where I just inadvertently found myself out there on a Tuesday. And I was like, oh, my God, the Bimart's jumping. So I was like, look, if I'm going to make my first trip to Bimart, it needs to be on a Tuesday. And it did not disappoint. You did not, you can't properly prepare for what goes down on a Bimart Tuesday. It was almost like when everyone was talking to me about, like, the Bachelor's Inn down in Coos Bay. Like, you're like, how, like, you think some of those stories are exaggerated, and then you go there and you're like, no, that's what I felt about Bimart. I was like, yeah, I know the olds are hanging out, and I know they take it seriously, but I'm sure it's like any other store. Wrong.
IYKYK. You know what that means?
What?
That's what the kids say.
That's right. They hashtag it.
If you know, you know.
Yes.
And now you know.
So I head to the Bimart for two specific items: weed and feed and a new brush trimmer. Needed to trim the old shrubs. So I went in specifically for those two items. So I get my little cart, roll in the back, find the hedge trimmer. By the way, $30 off. Thank you very much, Bimart. End up with some weed and feed and a couple other garden things, and now I'm on my merry way. So I'm heading up, and we're going to check out. And I will say that the average age of the Falk Road Bimart, 73 and a half.
Well, that's just on Tuesday.
That's just on Tuesday.
Understand that all ages love Bimart.
Yes.
But the olds,
there's
something special about Lucky Number Tuesday.
So there are only
really
two lanes that were open.
Bye.
The lady who was working my lane, 74,000 years old. And I felt terrible for her because she was struggling. She was struggling, and, it's like you're trying to be patient. And I realized the guy behind me is wearing his Vietnam veteran full outfit. He's got the Vietnam hat, but then he also has the Vietnam veteran's vest with some cargo shorts and then some sweet boots that he's wearing. I did not realize at the time I was coming from the gym, and I was wearing a Navy dry fit shirt, like a Naval Academy. Said "Go Navy" on the back. Let's just say that opened the door wide. Just he and my man behind me.
You have a new best friend?
Oh no. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you in the Navy?" And I was like, "Huh?" And I was like, no, I'm not. And then he proceeded to launch in.
Stolen valor?
No. But he proceeded to tell me about how he was not in the Navy. He was in the Marines. In case you didn't know, the veteran. Then he proceeded to tell me that basically the Navy is a bunch of pansies. And he used way different language. So then he launches into that. And I didn't know what to say. So I was just kind of smiling, being like, hey.
Ask his thoughts on the Coast Guard.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what to tell you on that. Dude's not a big fan of the Navy.
What?
Because, the Marines are kind of part of the Navy, and they're not happy about
But
that.
they're the baddest of badasses.
Yeah, so he's letting me all in on that. Then he proceeds to tell me about how back in his day, they would have run right through me. Big old boy like me wouldn't have cut it in the Marines. No, too soft. So he's telling me I'm too big.
That's wonderful.
Too big to be a Marine. He would have just, if this was a
Thank you,
different
sir,
day.
I wasn't trying to be.
I don't know. So he's launching into me on that. So I'm just like, whoa. So then I'm waiting to get to the front. And now the people in front of me, now we got double chaos. Because my lady in front of me with her man, dressed in all camo, by the way, these were their items. They had bird feed. They had a bunch of cat food, like little individual cans of cat food, had some beef jerky, and had some concealer, some makeup concealer that was on clearance. Got it from the clearance bin. Well, guess what? When they rang it up, it came up as $375. And I'll tell you what, that's not clearance
expensive.
bin.
No, that's too expensive.
We weren't having
That should be 99 cents.
We weren't having it at all. So now there's a scene.
Yep.
And
Gotta call in the manager.
Check.
And my poor lady at the front, who, by the way, is claiming that after me, her line needs to shut down because she's got a doctor appointment that she's got to get to. And she has multiple what appear to be like IV bandages on her forearm and looks like she's on death's door. I feel terrible for her. And she's trying to tell the people behind me, there's no more. Like, this is it. This guy with the brush trimmer is the last one. And people aren't having it.
This pansy from the Navy.
So she's now dealing with the discount concealer, which is not going well because we need a manager over there. The manager says that it's $375. The lady insisted it's not $375. It came from the discount bin. So now we got a whole thing. On top of that, in the middle, and by the way, none of this is exaggerated. This is exactly how this went down. And I'm like, oh my God, Bimart. In the middle of all this, another lady comes over, 1,000 years old, to tell the checkout lady, my gal, who just wants to get to her doctor's appointment, that the random, like, kind of thin mint looking candy thing, like one box of some sort of mint candy, she was charged twice for. By the way, I don't know when this occurred. At no point when I was in line was this lady in my line, but she wanted that lady to know that she was charged twice. And the lady's like, she says it's already been corrected. She had already been to the customer service and it had the $2 whatever charge, but she wanted the lady to know that she was overcharged and so that it wouldn't happen again.
Yes.
She wanted that lady to acknowledge what had happened, and she was not going to leave until this lady acknowledged what was going on. So now we've got makeup happening. We've got the kerfuffle in she wants the acknowledgement. By the way, people keep stacking up in line, and the lady keeps telling him, no, this is the last guy.
Couple that with your lack of military preparedness and gosh.
Yeah, and the fact that the Navy's a bunch of candy asses. And then this was the coup de grace. This was the best part of the whole thing, right? So finally, like the lady with the mascara thing, we get that resolved, everything. It's my turn up. And the lady finally tells the last person in line again, because more people just keep lining up. So she says one more time, and the Vietnam vet guy finally loses it and is like, and then tells her there's a little like elastic thing that you can put up that tells people the line is shut off. So now he's livid that the thing hasn't come up. And by the way, he's been here this whole time. But he now tells the lady, why didn't you put up this thing in the first place? And so now he's giving her the business about how that doesn't go up. So he goes to put the thing up, and he's all sorts of upset, again, at the lack of procedure. So at this point, I said, sir, you go ahead of me. I'll go to a different line. I'm not in any rush. And so I'm just like, you go, I will go to the back of the other line and be fine. And hand to God, the guy with the Vietnam thing looks at me and goes, I'm not even buying anything. Like, what? I was like,
What's he doing?
and then he puts the little thing across, and then just leaves.
Just doing a little quality control for
I
the
don't
Weimar
know.
checkout procedure?
He just walks away. He just walks away.
I'm not
and
even
I'm looking
buying
at the poor
anything.
lady, and she just goes, I just need to get to a doctor's appointment. And I'm like, yes, you do. What can I do? I don't know. I felt so bad.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was
He
my
was
first
maybe-
Weimar Tuesday.
Is it possible that he's an employee? You know, it's employee owned.
I don't know.
So perhaps he was just, looking over things, making sure everybody was up to standard.
This all went down at my very first Weimar
So-
Tuesday. Is it always like this?
This is where Todd from Weimar instantly regrets giving you a Weimar membership. I'm not sure he would love that, but look.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. As we all know, the olds are kind of in their own world.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's just the way you get when you get old. And so it's really, they're all very siloed.
Yeah.
And so imagine having to deal with 50 of those, you know? And then, you know, I've always found that the people at Weimar are really good at what they do because they've all worked there forever. It's employee owned. Like they do a good job of training employees and they stay there. They all know. You'll see the same if you keep going in there.
Yeah.
Every
and
week,
I will.
You will see the same people every week. It's very nice, and they're all very competent. But you know, when you have to deal with that many olds, bro, it gets wild.
It was.
And especially
everyone
on
was passionate.
Especially on Tuesday. Well, yeah, they don't. This is their week. You don't understand. This is their week. Do not ruin it.
No. And the thing is, no one yelled, no one was mad. It just was a lot. There was a lot going down.
I'll tell you the one thing that they will not have in there,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about the customers,
Yeah.
they will not have long lines. You cannot have a long line. They will riot. They will riot.
Well,
and the Weimar and the people know it.
Yeah.
And the workers.
Yeah.
And so they're on it. Like they'll come running in. They'll repel in from the ceiling. Like, where were you? Like, I was up working on the roof. I gotta work the register for this old lady over here.
Oh yeah, the one of the ladies came down. They have like the little there's like a little, I don't know, there's like a crow's nest, like where they do the numbers and everything. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Lady
they're all up there.
The lady came down and
That's
made
right.
sure that everything was
That's right.
was taken
They're
care
always well staffed.
of. Whew. But I'll tell you what, it was spicy.
God.
Hey, but you know what?
You got what you needed.
I got what I needed, and I'll tell you what, those are banging deals.
And you got a segment out of it.
And I got a segment out of it.
They are banging deals. You can't beat those deals.
Weimar on a Tuesday did not disappoint for me. And I will never forget, hand to God, the guy, I'm not buying anything. What?
You guys want to know the best part?
What are you doing here?
Buck, you want to know the best part?
Yeah.
You know how much a membership costs?
Free 99?
$5.
$5.
Okay.
Worth every penny.
$5 gets you your green card.
Yep.
I feel like my father-in-law would love this place.
There's no question. Everyone would love it. You just have to be exposed to it.
Yeah.
If you come across it in your life, you will love it. Just maybe to some people, it's just I've never been in there. I'm not a member, so I won't go. But
Go.
you should get a membership.
Go.
My father-in-law is the type that when he gets his newspaper, he likes to look at the advertisement section and see what they have on sale at the Big Five.
That's right.
And I'm like, you would be a Weimart guy.
The Big Five.
Yeah.
Total. Yeah. Show him Weimar, his mind will be blown.
Yeah. He's like, look, they have 6 different beer trimmers that are less than $16.99. Right. And I'm like,
oh, just
that
wait.
That sounds great.
That sounds great, Dick. Just wait. Wait till he gets a hold of the Weimar Savings Guide.
Oh, so good.
And then, you know what the best? Here's the even better. We keep forgetting great parts.
Ice cream?
When you're in there, Mike Barrett's talking to you.
Yeah.
He's on the loudspeaker. It's
don't they have notoriously great ice cream too?
Well, they don't have any. No, I don't know.
I thought Weimar had good ice cream. Do they sell their own ice cream?
Well, they don't. It's all dry goods. I mean, they have a little.
Maybe I'm thinking Buy Right.
They had a milk fridge. I saw that.
They do have a milk fridge. They have little, like eggs and stuff. But I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Garden supplies, great deals.
That's right.
Great deals.
All right. Wow. Holy crap. I'm going home.
So we just shut it down?
I didn't know what to do.
Let's go home.
This was my first venture out of the house in like 4.5 days, and I ran smack dab into that. Couldn't have been happier.
I mean, there is sports. There are.
Yeah.
No, there don't. There are sports. Yeah. Not is.
Maybe.
And we're going to get to that. You know, our Murray State Racers are in the
Yes.
College World Series.
That's a great story.
It is.
Did you read about them?
Well, yes. Yeah. Why do you think I'm bringing it up here on the sports show?
Sports.
We'll start with that and headlines next on The Fan.
No headlines next, but we will get to our daily 4:30 segment. It'll be time for In the News on the other side of this break, but first, a SportsCenter update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on The Fan, more breaking news in the NBA this afternoon. A 3-team trade between the Hawks, the Nets, and the Celtics. The Hawks receive Kristaps Porzingis from Boston and a future second-round pick. The Nets receive Terrence Mann and Atlanta's number 22 pick in tomorrow night's draft, while the Celtics receive George Niang and a future second-round pick. Meanwhile, the big Blazers news last night is that Portland is sending Anthony Simons to Boston, along with 2 second-round picks in exchange for veteran 3-and-D man Drew Holiday, also an Olympic gold medalist. Holiday has 3 years, $110 million left on his current deal, while Simons was the last player remaining from the Neil Olshey era. Meanwhile, the Blazers' small forward, Matisse Thybulle, has picked up his $11.5 million player option for the upcoming season. Down in the Big Easy, the Pelicans are sending former Blazers C.J. McCollum as well as Kelly Olynyk and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards. In return, the Pelicans will pick up Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the 40th overall pick in tomorrow night's draft. Meanwhile, the Mariners looking for another win in Minneapolis as Luis Castillo takes the hill tonight. First pitch just a matter of moments away. That'll get started around 4:40 out in Minneapolis. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley, the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch, and now On 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back to a best of edition of Primetime. You know we do it every time we do it every day at this time, and it's an In the News segment. Take it away, boys.
I love that. Sacred Heart clip.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize.
Okay. A lot of people saying.
I just love
A
it. I love
lot
that.
of people
Jim.
saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
I use that one a lot at the house. Right. I tell the BTJ that, a lot.
A
lot
lot
of people. Like I'll come home and like dinner will be a little bit late and I'm like,
Oh.
Word on the
Look
street
at you.
is a lot of people saying you're slipping. Usually ends up with me getting punched, but I'm a big fan. A lot of people. I'm just telling you what I heard.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has
The
diarrhea.
delivery is so good.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's delivered in a way. It's like, well, I don't really know, but I tell you what,
And it's like a prankster
It's
fan
out there.
looming over a field mic, so
It's out
it's
there that-
especially impressive.
your whole school has diarrhea.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize.
So good.
May 30, 2025, time for In the News. I'm your newsman. Hello, thank you. Brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. Today is National Mint Julep Day. Have you a little mint julep?
Well, I couldn't tell you the last time I had one. They're
I love a
delightful.
mint julep.
They are very good.
The key is you got to take the mint and you crush it.
You have to slap it.
To muddle it.
Yeah.
Get it, release the menthol.
It is also National Creativity Day.
Oh, there you go. Go be creative.
Who needs that?
Imagination.
So I have some spelling for you.
Okay.
I know you're not keen on the grammar.
Today was the 100th annual Scripps Spelling Bee.
Yeah, you were going to tell us what was the
We can maybe get
winning-
into that in the club.
Oh,
That's-
okay.
if you want to try to spell the winning word.
Yeah, we'll try later. I'm sure we'll be able to spell it. But in
Dude,
honor
some of those words, dude, those things are the most horrifying things in the world.
in honor of the Scripps National Spelling Bee, WorldUnscrambler.pro, which is an online resource for wordsmiths and Scrabble enthusiasts,
Okay.
put together the list of America's most misspelled words, and they did Google searches because you always do like the how to spell.
Oh, absolutely.
So-
I don't even do how. I just start typing and get close enough, and then I'm like, oh, that's what it is.
The word, yeah. See, I always say, how do you spell something?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what they were looking. They were looking at Google searches by state for that phrase, like how do you spell X, Y, or Z?
And I actually, I cannot spell something without writing it down.
Okay.
Like because I'm assuming you're going to give me a word here. Me trying to spell something in my head, it's not going to happen. But if I write it down on paper, I don't know why, but like I can picture it better.
Well, none of these are all that hard, but they're just the tricky words,
Oh yeah, dude, I get
the tricky ones.
Like I want to say like necessary will get me.
Yeah.
Business gets me sometimes where I'm like typing in the phone. I'm like, wait, I misspelled that, and then you're like looking down.
So the most misspelled word in Oregon is,
I'm gonna say like Willamette or something like, I don't know, like what else do we have that's weird here? Cooch, couch,
business.
Business. Yeah.
Most misspelled word in Oregon.
Yeah.
Business.
Business. That's what I said. That was one of mine. Like business would get me.
The most misspelled word in Washington.
Restaurant.
See, restaurant's a tricky one for a lot of people.
I'll butcher that.
Appreciation.
Oh yeah. I'm not even gonna make that. I'm gonna make that attempt. Neighbor will get me a time or two.
So here are the most misspelled words in Merca. Number 10, restaurant. Number 9, favorite.
Okay.
Number 8, business.
Yeah.
Number 7, neighbor.
Yeah. Hey, see? So basically, all the words that I can't spell, everyone else. That makes me feel somewhat better about my illiterate nature.
Number 6, gorgeous.
Huh. Okay. I don't ever.
I think the E throws people off in that one.
So it's like what? Gorge.
E.
Yeah, E and then O-U-S?
Yes.
All right.
Number 5, through.
Through. That T-H-R-O-U-G-H?
That's correct. Number 4 is believe. Number 3 is necessary. Number 2, separate. And the most misspelled word in Merca.
I'll tell you right now, if you asked me to spell necessary to save your life, I would apologize to your wife.
Definitely.
Definitely not spelling definitely.
Definitely is a tricky one. But it's D-E-F-I-N-I-T-E-L-Y.
I'm not getting that.
Very difficult.
That's not happening. You ever have it where not even spell check knows? Like the one that depresses me when spell check doesn't even know what I'm trying to spell.
That means you have so badly butchered it that it doesn't even recognize it as close?
Yep. That's the one where it offends me. Because I'll I'll be trying to spell something. I'm like, I know this isn't right, but I'll just get it close enough. And then spell check just looks at me with shame and disgust. And they're like, yeah.
We don't even know what you're...
Or it gives me like 3 other words that are in no way what I'm going for. I'm like, I'm so wrong that you've now just moved on to other words. I'm not going to lie. That one hurts me a little bit.
You're hurting yourself.
I know, but I'm a bit embarrassed when that happens. Like, And I don't know if anyone else has done this, but the ultimate shame is, so I'll try to respell it to get it close enough to get it. And if that happens again, where it still doesn't know what I'm trying to spell, I will just change the word. I will use a different word that is easier to spell. I'll just give up on necessary. I'm like, you don't know that I'm trying to get necessary? Cool. We're moving on to something else.
No one will know.
No.
Yeah, let's go with required.
Yeah. Or I will also do this one sometimes. I'll just do the voice text. I'll be like, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and throw
I love that voice text.
Yeah, and then it just spells it out. You're like, oh.
Voice text is great. Yeah. Where has that been all our lives? You know?
Dude, sometimes, though, when you got to be careful because you'll voice text, you better proofread that. Because sometimes you look down, you're like, that's not what I was trying to say.
More in the news coming your way right after this short break. It's a best of Primetime edition right here on 1080 The Fan.
Yeah. The home of
Welcome back to Primetime, a best of edition. Time for a little more in the news and ranking local staycations. Where does Portland rank?
I'm your noted newsman here. We've got news contributor Jason Skukanik right over there, and Buckley's here for some reason.
Wow. For some reason.
We love
there has to be an athlete on this program.
That's right. Top three sprint tri-Clyde.
Someone has to be winning bronze medals.
3 of 3, baby.
Baby. Well, the staycation, for those that don't know, is where you take vacation time, but you stay at home and just kind of chill. Well, I mean, you don't have to stay in your house. I just mean you don't travel somewhere.
And dare I say, sometimes
they're great.
Yeah, because as much as travel is awesome, and I love taking trips, sometimes you come back from vacation and you're like, man,
right? You
need the vacation from the vacation, and the staycation just
it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Can be.
Yes,
depends on what you do, what you do. Anyway, Wallet Hub has ranked its list of best cities for staycationing. They examined 182 U.S. cities, and scores are based on 3 areas: recreation, food and entertainment, and rest and relaxation.
See, I bet you we're doing pretty good here.
Okay.
We have delicious food, right?
We rank 6th in food.
Well, that makes sense because, I mean, we're good for food, but we're not San Francisco, we're not York, we're not Chicago. No, but the top 6 is good. We've got desert, we got mountains, we got rivers, we got lakes. We got.
I'm gonna go to that lake.
We got stuff to do here.
I couldn't believe we ranked 24th in recreation.
That's a little surprising.
I mean,
what are the other things we're supposed to be doing out here?
Right. Like hiking, parks, biking,
yeah, we got a lot.
Walking.
Although, to be fair, we don't have the most vibrant nightlife.
Well, is that recreation or is that food and entertainment? That's food and entertainment.
Oh, that's probably food and entertainment.
Yeah. And then we have rest and relaxation.
Yeah.
And we're super boring, so.
Yeah. So what are we overall?
Oh.
We're 24th in one, 6th in the other. What else is...
We were 97th in rest and relaxation.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, out of 182.
We just all stressed out or something?
Is that?
I don't like that because...
It's because we don't have any trust?
Harkening back to a story from last night's club.
I pay attention sometimes.
I like where we're going with that.
We are...
97th.
Out of 182 cities, we are number...
Well, that 97 is going to drop us.
You think?
That's going to hurt.
Where do you think we are? Go.
So 6th, 24th, 97th, 52.
16th.
Oh! Boy, those must not be weighted equally. 16. All right. Yep. I'll take it.
16th best city for staycations.
Tasty.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with 16th. So 16th is like...
Oops.
Oh, I don't know. We're like the Wisconsin of college football when it comes to staycations, right?
16th?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Texas A&M, maybe?
Yeah, Look, we're not a blue blood, but we're doing good.
Number one.
We pack the stands. We jump around.
This is wild.
Colorado, Denver.
No, they were right in front of us. They were 15th.
Oh, okay.
Number one, the best city for a staycation.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
What? Oh, get bent.
Oh, go have some Skyline chili. Have a nice time.
Suck it.
Yeah, that's
Really?
weird.
Okay.
Orlando, number 2. Las Vegas, number 3.
Okay. Orlando and
Honolulu, 4.
And those all at least make sense.
Honolulu,
like
fine.
Orlando, there's Disney there. You got all the, there's a lot to do.
But doesn't
around.
golf count as like one activity? I mean, how much golf can you do? Is there that much
There's
more in Orlando?
There's a lot to do around Orlando. Within an hour or two, because then you can cruise on down to Tampa. All the sports are available to you. All the outdoor recreation. You got the ocean. That makes sense. Vegas, no brainer. Cincinnati, get out.
Sook's not happy.
Well, no. Orlando and Vegas make sense. Cincinnati is dumb. And the fact that Cincinnati is number 1, you're telling me that it's more enjoyable to stick around Cincinnati than it is Vegas or Orlando?
Does it break down their rankings in the different categories? What are they so great at?
I'm looking for a written explanation. I don't have that. What I do have is their total score. They have recreation ranking 8th, food and entertainment ranking 10th, and rest and relaxation rank 5th.
The recreation one so we're 16 spots behind Cincinnati for recreation. That seems odd.
According to Wallet Hub.
I'm looking at what are the top 10 things to do in Cincinnati.
Ooh. Now that's a list I
Enlighten
didn't
us.
know that I needed.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
That's kind of like the story's more important than war in the Middle East.
Yeah, I just...
That's right. I don't want to hear about Iran and Israel. I want to know
French fries and topless Gwyneth Paltrow.
what to do in Cincinnati.
All right, top attractions. What do we got here? Number 1, the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Gardens.
R.I.P.
It's
Harambe.
always the zoo.
There's,
that's
there's
right.
probably a Harambe memorial.
The Great American Ballpark.
Okay, baseball game.
So
Yeah,
every
like
major
the
city.
Reds? No offense to the Great American Ballpark, but that's not exactly Fenway Field or Fenway Park. And then I got the Cincinnati Museum Center, the American Sign Museum,
Can I?
a suspension bridge. Get out of here.
We got all kinds of bridges here.
I have another complaint.
This is bush.
Can I file another complaint?
Feel free.
Please, live on the show today.
Yeah.
File away, big boy.
My filing here is
Fire
that
away, big boy.
I think we suck at real to-do lists.
Yes.
Because any city you look up is going to have a zoo.
It's the
a
same
museum.
BS everywhere.
It's the same crap.
Yes.
Somebody put together an actual list of really cool things that are unique for a city to do.
That are unique to that city
Yes.
specifically that you cannot do in another
Portland has a million of those things.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
And I bet if you Google things to do in Portland, it's going to be the zoo.
And the Pitcock Mansion.
Yeah, Pittock Mansion.
Pittock
Yeah.
Mansion.
Like,
Which-
get outta here.
Go. Yeah.
I think we did that the first time my wife's parents came to Portland, and it was like, it was fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
And we also need to know like what else to do because there's things to do with kids and there's things to do not to do with kids. Like why isn't a bar like a pub crawl? Go down to Belmont sometime and you can have a wonderful time. Starting at the Horse Brass and working your way
You
on
could probably
down.
do one of those things where you pedal the bicycles around. You can get tours of breweries. There's all
Yes.
sorts of things.
Maybe get drunk and crash a scooter. I don't know. Let's talk about some of the strip clubs, our fine cultural events that we can go to, right? We got everything from the Keller to the Schnitz. We got lots of live music venues. Why aren't those on there? Cincinnati, Ohio. By the way, one of their top 8 things is the Hard Rock Casino. Really? The Hard Rock Hotel?
It would help us if we had a casino.
Well, we got
I tell you what, I was
A&A right up the road.
I was at
That's
A&A
right.
the other night.
It
I
was
went to
jump-
that
it was
barbecue
jumping up.
fest. Dude, that place is popping.
Yes.
They have no competition.
No.
Everybody's going there.
Yeah.
It's really nice. They have cool events. They have good restaurants.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that place is legit.
Yeah, no offense, but suck it, Hard Rock Casino in Cincinnati. Give me A&A, which again should be part of Portland. It's depending on where you're at in Portland, it's 20 to 25 minutes away.
My only complaint about A&A is they need more tables. If you go there at any sort of peak hour,
Packed.
it's too packed. You can't play.
I'd also like to point out that number in the top 10 in Cincinnati is the Spring Grove Cemetery. Really?
Go visit
Okay.
a cemetery?
We're visiting a cemetery,
There are 2 cities in America worthy of seeing a cemetery, New Orleans and Arlington, and
Yeah.
that's about it.
not Cincinnati. The
You know,
American
the-
Sign Museum coming in at number 4.
The worst city of 182 cities to staycation is Yonkers, New York.
I don't want to go to Yonkers.
The worst
And I don't
big
want to stay at Yonkers.
The worst big city is Oakland, California,
That tracks.
along with Anaheim. They're in the 170s. Newark, New Jersey, Bridgeport, Connecticut.
We have someone who's either from Cincinnati or a Cincinnati fan on the YouTube chat. They go by the name Houday.
Yeah.
Their top 8 things to do: 1, watch the Bengals; 2, watch the Reds; 3, Skyline Chili; 4, watch Cincinnati FC; 5, watch Xavier Hoops; 6, eat more Skyline Chili; 7, reminisce about Pete Rose; 8, bet against Cleveland.
I love
Now
it.
that's a list.
See, that's a real
That's a
to-do.
list I can get behind.
It's going to do it for us, guys. Well, I mean, not for the day, but
You can imagine what it'd be like.
we're in the news. Brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com.
This best of edition of Primetime with Isaac and Suk will continue with hour number 3 next. Some best of Joey Harrington, as well as the origin of Rop's Greg Sankey accent, but we'll start things off with chicken tender fingers. That's next on The Fan.
Hi, I'm the daughter of Henderson and daughter. Nearly 40 years ago, my folks
Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on The Fan, more trade action in the NBA this afternoon. A three-team trade between the Atlanta Hawks, the Boston Celtics, and the Brooklyn Nets. Kristaps Porzingis is on the move. He is headed to Atlanta. Then you also have George Niang. He goes back to Boston. Meanwhile, we have... then there's Terrence Mann, who is going to Atlanta in the deal. We'll unwind that trade a little bit more later. The Blazers last night dealt Anthony Simons to the Boston Celtics along with a pair of second-round picks. In return, they get Drew Holiday, the 3-and-D man with 3 years and $110 million left on his current deal. Meanwhile, the Blazers' small forward Matisse Thybulle has picked up his $11.5 million player option for the upcoming season. Down in New Orleans, the Pelicans are sending former Blazers C.J. McCollum as well as Kelly Olynyk and a future number 2 to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the 40th overall pick in tomorrow night's draft. The Mariners looking for another win in Minneapolis as Luis Castillo takes the hill for the M's at Target Field tonight. They are already underway in Minnesota with the game tied 0-0 in the second inning. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Mash the subscribe button and like us for live streaming video and 1080 The Fan on demand.
Good afternoon. At the tone, Pacific Daylight Time will be...
It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
One step closer to my own personal hell.
This is Primetime on Sports Radio 1080 The Fan.
We expect the best. We're not afraid to break someone. Do you hear me?
Primetime is your source for the best in local, regional, and national sports.
Go ahead and clap. Mediocrity deserves applause.
Isaac Robb.
I'm miserable. I had to get up at 10 o'clock this morning.
Jason Sakanet.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Primetime on 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of a best-of edition of Primetime with the 11th annual Fan Golf Classic going on out at Langdon Farms. We'll get some reports back on what went down out there on Wednesday's show. But for now, continuing with this best of later this hour, some of my favorite Joey Harrington interviews. But first, another opening segment from the show. You would have heard this in the 3 o'clock hour where we talk about almost no sports to open things up. And I title this segment, Tendy Fingers.
We are hot and sports is hot.
It is a little warm.
You like those?
That's the analogies are just flowing. Yeah. It's hot.
Yeah.
We're a 5,000 watt blowtorch. I don't know how many watts the station is.
How many watts are we?
I don't know.
Anybody know that?
That was back in the day.
I don't understand wattage.
I don't know.
You know, it's like meters.
It's some form of measuring power. How about BTU, British Thermal Units? 46,000 BTUs coming at you from Primetime.
Feeling hot.
I'm gonna look up our wattage. I'm gonna start promoting our wattage.
Well, they used to promote that.
I know, but I don't think we have great wattage. Therefore, I don't think they promote it anymore.
My home station back in the Bay Area did the same thing. They would you could like hear it in Sacramento or whatever, and they'd be like, from a 50,000 kilowatt blowtorch signal or whatever, like
ready to go.
At nighttime, and you could even get it out in Nevada in the desert.
If
You're
you
like,
ever thought about
great.
like radio measuring penis size, that's the equivalent of
wattage.
Wattage. You know, you can't listen to that station. They got no wattage over here.
Bro. We're a 50,000 watt station.
And here I was saying 5,000.
Which I don't think is great.
We had micro wattage. 50,000?
I don't think that's great. And
what
then
are you talking about? That's great.
It powers down at night, which I think is 5 o'clock, which pisses people off in Salem.
Yeah.
Because they're listening, and then all of a sudden it's only 9,000 watts at night.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So we become watt flaccid after 5?
I think so.
Hey, you know what? How long has the station been around?
Well, this station started in 1968. Remember we talked about this the other day with KWJJ.
Then we can't ask our station to perform at the same level it used to all day, every day.
Well, I know. I think that's why they dialed it down to 9,000
The
watts.
fact that we can still get it up to 50,000 watts, let's not view the negative of 9,000 ladies or men. It's 2025. Let's focus on our ability to still get to 50,000 watts for a significant period of time. I think that's very good. And then maybe we can find some sort of radio pill at night to maybe get us up to like 30,000 watts. So we still feel like we're bringing some good heat.
I'm going to look up highest wattage station. 50,000.
By the way, volts times amps equals watts, even though no one knows what volts
times amps? That's what I thought.
And yet you don't know what a volt is.
No.
Nor do you know what an amp is.
50,000 watts is the highest permitted wattage for a commercial AM radio station in the United States.
Then I want an apology from you that 50,000. You said 50,000 is not bringing the heat.
Well, it's not.
It is.
No, it isn't. Because we're on the AM.
Well, for what we are, we're bringing the
maximum wattage.
We're bringing maximum heat. We're thrusting as hard as we can with the wattage.
Yeah, in single A. Okay.
Well, I don't like. Look at you. Look at you.
Wait.
Are we North Dakota State?
Wait. There's more.
North Dakota. Yeah, like we are the bison.
Like we're just like the big bad epic dynasty of the second tier.
That's what we're doing. And you know what? We'll beat some of the 100,000 watt stations. Wait, is there a 100,000 watt station?
Well, let me read this to you.
I can't wait.
In North America, the highest allowed wattage for a Class A FM radio station is.
Mm-hmm.
So AM, it was 50,000 watts.
Yes.
For FM, the answer is 50,000 watts.
So look, our watts are as big as anyone's watts.
Yes. Yes.
You take a backseat wattage to no man.
Now, it says some stations, particularly those with older licenses or in Mexico, may have been grandfathered in and operate under different agreements, potentially reaching much higher power levels like 320,000 watts.
Oh, my God. The Mexicans are doing it better than us.
So
they're dominating us.
If we crank the fan up to 320,000 watts.
What would happen?
What would happen?
Well, the government would come for us.
The government?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on?
Can we take our chance that maybe Doge cut that and they won't notice?
He'd probably tell us that if we kept doing it, that there's going to be problems. That would be my. In fact, maybe that's where that clip comes from. Maybe at night we turned it up and Trump got wind of it and was like, "No, you guys aren't doing this anymore."
Well, it's a 50,000 watt AM blowtorch right in your ear.
Yeah.
On a beautiful Friday Northwest day.
Rocking you on a Friday.
Why did I say that?
I don't know. No one knows.
Yeah, big show, I think. Joey Harrington's going to come on today.
Really big show.
You know what we're going to have him do?
What?
He is going to power rank his top 3 meats.
Well, yeah, because when you came in, I was
rocking you on a Friday. Why did I say that?
I was eating some lamb that I was reheating in the commissary over there.
They're eating the pets.
Turns out lamb may be a bit of a controversial.
You were eating the pets?
Yeah, I was eating the pets. By the way, you blew right by. You didn't have a second look. I offered lamb, and you were like,
no, it looked good.
I got no time.
It looked like it was left over from a restaurant, but you said it was homemade, and
That's
I was
homemade.
very impressed by that.
Well,
but no, I did not want.
Well, you
any.
passed that on to the BTJ. I can assure you that I did not make those delicious lambs. Those were hot honey with like a feta cheese crumble lamb slider.
What was the lamb's name?
I think it was Mittens.
God,
little Mittens.
Uh-huh.
Well, I feel bad because I love lamb, but I don't like mutton, so I only like the babies. Which kind of makes me feel like a big jerk. But if those lambs wanted to be alive to make adult sheep, they should be less delicious when they're babies, because lamb is delightful. Mutton, a little chewy.
That's classic Souk, pinning it on the victim.
No, I don't know.
Keep doing it.
I'll tell you what, that little lamb, if it could, I'm guessing it would take a bite out of me too. It's called food chain.
You think so?
I don't know.
You think if like humans were the bottom of the food chain,
well, stuff does.
Would we be like served in little turtle restaurants and stuff? Like,
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the turtles are.
I don't believe lambs eat meat. A lamb would not take a bite out of you.
You don't know that?
I'm pretty sure that they are herbivores.
Okay, well, they're a vegan restaurant, or like.
I like how
we don't have vegan souk.
I like you said pretty. You said pretty certain. You don't know.
Well, I mean, if you gave a lamb dog food, would it eat it? Maybe, but I mean, it doesn't naturally eat meat.
Well, all I'm saying is, if we were the bottom of the food chain, are we served in animal restaurants?
Yes, because look, if you go way back,
or are we like what animal don't we eat?
If you go we don't. Well, we eat everything.
We kind of do eat everything, but
just certain places. But if you go other countries, they eat dogs. They eat
geese.
Oh, absolutely. They
I've
will
never
eat
had
anything.
I've never.
They're eating the dogs.
Well, if you go way back, I mean, this is about to get uncomfortable, but if you go back into like the early human stuff, we had like the Neanderthals, and then you had like the Denisovans, and there were different groups of early humans. And we don't know a lot about each one of those groups, but what we do know is that when old Homo sapien here came across them, you know what we did? We did two things with them.
We ate them.
And we
humped them.
And we humped them. So
we humped them and we killed them.
We humped them and we killed them. It's what we do. So the answer to do we eat it is yes. I would like to believe the answer to do we hump everything is no. We hope. Fingers crossed. But do we eat it? Yes. Yes, we eat it. And if you go way back, stuff ate us too. We just, we rose up. We rose up the old.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of animals we don't eat. Certain snakes, apparently, and pufferfish are avoided.
Well, because it can be very poisonous.
Exactly.
Same thing with the snake. You got to make sure you don't eat the old poison.
So would we have, as humans, developed a toxin in our bodies?
Ooh.
If we were preyed upon by pretty much every living thing.
The microplastics.
There you go.
Yeah. See? Great. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we were, when you think about us, we're not very strong. We have very soft skin. We don't have claws. We don't have sharp teeth. If we weren't smart...
We're supposed to have brains, but...
Yeah, that's really the only thing we have. Because if we weren't smart, we'd be in a lot of trouble. A lot of stuff out there killing us.
It's chicken.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe we wouldn't taste good, and maybe the animal kingdom would eat steak, a cow, just like we do.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, they do say all the time that
because maybe we're gross.
Very few animals actually like us. We aren't.
Yeah, they don't want to eat us.
No, they don't want to eat us. Like when a shark bites you, it thinks that you're a fat seal, but it usually doesn't eat you. It spits you out. It's just that you bleed to death.
That's kind of dumb. Why don't they just eat us?
They don't like us.
Well, but I don't think you can be that picky, can you?
Apparently you can.
As a shark?
Let me ask you this. Did you eat my delicious lamb slider today?
No.
Why not?
Well, I didn't want it.
Well, the shark doesn't want us.
Well, but sharks are different than humans. Like, I've got food aplenty.
Well, have you seen
Sharks
the ocean?
don't.
Oh, they do.
Well,
it's the ocean.
But, just eat it. Yeah. Eat the leg. Well, you chopped it off. You might as well eat it.
Well, I think you're being very judgmental right now to the shark. They say most of the time that a bear mauls someone, it doesn't eat us.
Yeah, see, they don't really need. Well,
they maul you, and then they're like, "Yeah, I don't need this." And they move
which
on.
animal is it harder to find food, the shark or the bear?
The bear.
Okay, well then they should eat us.
And they usually don't. If a bear does eat you, it's usually because it's starving and it's getting ready for hibernation and it can't find real food. So it takes us. They always say, "Be wary of skinny bears."
Oh yeah,
yeah,
they're hungry.
Yeah,
it's like those polar bears out there.
Yeah. They say if you find like a well-fed like big bear, obviously it looks scary and it should be respected, but that's not the one that you should worry about. In fact, who was remember, is it Timothy Treadwell, that numbnuts, the dude that tried to befriend all bears?
Yeah.
He found one of the last footage he has is the bears were getting ready to go into hibernation pretty quick, and this moron is filming this adult male brown bear who clearly is malnourished. And he's talking about how it looks sickly and he feels bad for it. And he's getting right up close to it. And any bear expert's like, dude, what are you doing? You got a starving bear over there that can't seem to catch anything. And you're going up to it trying to pet it. Oh, well, I wonder what happened. Yeah, it was like, oh my God. That would be like the equivalent, like if you were starving, like out in the middle of the woods, and like a T-bone just waltzed up to you and was like, hey, feel pretty bad for you. I'm a delicious T-bone, but I feel some sympathy and I'd like to tussle your hair a little bit. Well, guess what? It's happening to that T-bone. My man Timothy Treadwell didn't go so well for him. That bear didn't take him as the protector of anything.
If you were starving in the woods,
yeah,
and there was a giant, juicy, always hot, sizzling T-bone.
That's pretty good.
Medium rare.
Yeah.
Sitting there on a plate.
Yeah.
But for every day you went without touching it,
yeah,
I gave you $1 million. How many days would you go?
Ooh. So I'm starving. How many days can you can go? I go like 10 days.
You're gonna go 10 milli?
I
think you could not touch it? Like,
yeah, I'm gonna be hurting. But I
think
know
the hard part here is that you might this is a battle of will.
Yeah, it is a battle.
I would say 10, and it would actually be 4.
Right.
Yeah,
right. See, I think by day 4 or 5, you're eating that steak.
So here's where you need to, if you want to throw a real curveball into it, it's this. You don't know, Mrs. Mr. Beast style. I give you $1 million
every day.
Every day, but you don't know when the offer gets pulled. So
then I'd eat it the next day.
Well, that's what I'm saying. At some point, maybe the steak just goes away and the money goes away and now you're left starving. So how much do you push being hungry? Because look, you can go a long time. You can go weeks without eating. And if I know that I just have to starve myself for 2 weeks, I can go a long time knowing that as soon as I'm done, I'm going to be fine, I'm going to be healthy, and I get millions of dollars. The problem becomes if I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I've now gone a week or without food and I'm weak and I don't know if I can get out of there, how much is money worth the risk of me possibly ending up really screwed over? That's where it gets dicey. But I think I can starve myself for the better part of a week to 10 days, knowing that if I did that, I'd never have to work again.
All right. There's your hypothetical for the day. We told you we'd rock you.
Well, it's like when my hypothetical that I've always posed, and I think it's way lower than anyone thinks. If you took your fingers but they were made of chicken fingers, how long before you have no more fingers? And by the way,
how many fingers do you stop at?
But do I still have the dexterity of
No, they're gone.
Well, but if they're chicken fingers, I can't really do anything with my hands anyway.
It's normal. Think about chicken fries. Then you have all the dexterity in your hands, but when they're gone. They're gone.
They act like normal fingers until you try to consume them, and then they're chicken fries.
So if you eat one, it's never coming back, and there's no money, and you'd be like, "Well, I would never eat them." I think you would. I think
pinkies are going for sure.
I think at some point.
Well, ring finger maybe.
And by the way, I don't even think it's like in a survival situation. I think you're drunk, high, bored, and you eat half a finger.
It's a Friday night.
Yeah.
Your house.
Yeah.
You don't want to go out. You don't want to get DoorDash. You're like, you know what? I'm not going to miss this.
Half a finger? Try half your fingers. You're going to eat 5 just because you were.
No, I think you take out your pinky on your non-dominant hand first. And you're okay with that. That's gone pretty soon.
Isn't your ring finger your least functional of your fingers? I think you want to keep the pinky.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, dude. My pinky doesn't work anyways.
Yeah, yours might be a special case.
Well, I'm trying to think of the. Well, see the golf swing.
Yeah, golf swing.
I don't need it for my golf. It's non-dominant pinky.
Yeah.
I need my left-hand pinky.
Yeah, but the non-dominant, hey. I'm just saying. I think. Think about that. And by the way, this isn't like this is the rest of your life. I think if you did this, there'd be a lot of humans walking around as like stubbies. There'd be a lot of people like, "Oh my god," and we'd look at them and be like, "Really, dude? Like you have no self-control." Like you're out to dinner and ranch, like you spill some ranch on your finger. And you're like, damn it.
You can't just lick that off.
What am I supposed to do? Just wipe the ranch off? Yeah. No.
You go to lick it off, and then you're like, oh, my God, my finger. And next thing you know, it always starts with a little nibble, and then you look down, and you got a nub.
What's weird about it is, that is so not a great reward for, 10 chicken fingers.
It's a terrible reward.
Now you have no hand.
Yes.
What a terrible trade-off.
And yet
you're giving up is just awful.
Yeah. It's absurd.
Yes. I promise you one night of hard Irish drinking, and I would be down at least one finger. And if I'm being honest, it's probably more like 2.
And the shame of coming into work the next day.
Yes, because everyone...
I'm checking your fingers.
Everyone would know.
I see where you've lost another one.
You're like...
Would eating your chicken fingers inhibit your ability to escape a house fire? That's what the text line wants to know.
You come back from Vegas, you know you're missing a digit, and everyone's going to know why.
All right. That's the opening seggy for you.
Text line already says we should just do this all show.
Good night. Well, like I said, we are with Joey Harrington today. Yeah. We will be ranking his top 3 meats because Suk loves lamb.
I do.
You rarely have good questions.
Lamb's going to be in my top 3 more than likely.
So you'll want to tune in for that in a couple of hours. Headlines: Pacers do it again. That's next on The Fan.
Yeah, as Rop mentioned, we will talk to Joey about the meat rankings. That is included in today's Best Of. But coming up next, a segment that is now near and dear to my heart because it has led to so many drops. I'm talking about Isaac Rop turning into Greg Sankey. That's next, this Best Of edition, Primetime on 1080 The Fan.
The Fan is live on YouTube, Twitch, and now Primetime with Isaac and Suk on 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back to a best of edition of Primetime. The Fan Golf Classic today taking place out at Langdon Farms, the 11th annual. We'll get the stories on Wednesday's show. But right now we need to dive into one of my favorite recent segments. When Rob channeled his best SEC commissioner, Greg Sankey, the rest is drop history.
Tell you what he said, so I just wanted to...
I'm sure we have the clip.
Oh, do we have the clip?
I would assume.
On
Maybe.
sports radio? Sports talk radio?
I'll look for it. I'll let you know in just a second.
All right. We'll just sit over here and wait.
I would have thought Buckley would have had that, but, you know.
What is
Unless,
Colorado
Isaac, or you
Rockies?
asked for it, I usually don't have it, unless one of the other shows had it.
I'm guessing that clip is in there, and I just...
Hey, Buckley's got bets to worry about, okay? Shohei just hit a home run.
It's been making the rounds.
Another home run.
Yeah. He's got, he's either leading the league or he might be tied at this point.
I feel like he homers every night now.
I don't know if you know this about Shohei Ohtani, but turns out he good at baseball. And although the Mets took 2 of 3 from him, suck it, Dodgers. He was pitching. He's been on the mound. So
not in
leagues. Not in games.
He's seeing hitters though in
yes,
bullpens.
Yes, he is working his way back to pitch.
They don't really
right
need
now,
him
but,
until September.
But isn't it weird? As great as he is right now, and we're all like, "Oh my God, he is amazing." He is not currently pitching.
No,
like you forget how
he's not earning that $70 million. Well, I guess he doesn't make $70 million, but
actually he does, but
it's deferred.
Yes.
He only makes $2 million.
As someone who his team has paid Juan Soto $70 million.
Yeah,
let me tell you.
Now there's a guy not earning $70 million.
Yes, and Met fans all hate him now, but everyone just relax.
It's because he's a hateable guy.
Well, but
not even his own fans like him.
Everyone hated Lindor when they gave him that contract, and Soto will be fine. He's a little fat now. He'll work his way into the groove.
Yeah, I don't think he will.
He'll be fine.
Anyway.
We do not have the Greg Sankey.
We do not.
No, it's not in the system.
Sports Talk Radio.
I don't know what clip it is, but if you'd like, I can go peruse internet and find it. Look for it.
You know what?
Or you can just read it to us.
Just watch the Dodger game, okay? We know that's what you want to do.
They're in a commercial.
He said, I don't need... This is Greg Sankey, SEC coach.
And he was fiery when he said it.
I don't need lectures from others about the good of the game. Is he from the South?
This is way better than Sankey audio, by the way. You have to do the whole clip like that.
I don't know if he's from the South, but I picture him having a Southern accent.
He does not have that kind of Southern accent.
He does now.
I enjoy what you're doing.
Now remember, he's the one who convinced his presidents in the SEC that the college football playoff was in the best interest of college football.
By the way, he went to Syracuse, for God's sake.
Yeah, so he's a
he's
a northerner.
He's a Yankee.
He's a Yankee. Well,
but keep doing the Southern accent.
Claiming,
it's better.
He's saying he's the one who has been working to save the ACC and the Big 12's ass.
Yes.
Which he did give them to, again, it's not all him, but, he got the SEC presidents to agree that the ACC and the Big 12 could get 2 automatic qualifiers each.
Yes.
And that's basically what he's saying.
Yes.
He's also the one who all along has been working with Tony Petitti of the Big Ten to help those conferences. Meanwhile, those conferences are complaining about their help. So they poked the bear, and then he said, on the Fan,
Greg Sankey,
here on Sports Talk.
Maybe I should have got the clip.
You can issue your press statements, but I'm actually looking for ideas to move us forward. Here now.
Well, I like that's a main justice.
And then he said, the SEC didn't need the playoff. That was for the good of the game. But he wasn't done.
No. It's a pretty long, you can't, it's like a 2-minute clip.
For the first time since he was named commissioner in 2015 and has since spoken with measured yet forceful tones, Sankey unloaded. For 10 years, he has spoken as the conference, rarely as the commissioner. It's always we, never me. That ended in various spots during a 45-minute State of the SEC to begin the league's annual spring meetings, a State of the League that quickly turned into the State of College Football and Sankey's place in it. You want to go inside what it's like to sit in this role? Here now.
I like you doing Greg Sankey like this.
I think about the responsibility I have to our member institutions over here now. And I think about the rest of college football more broadly all the time. I'm open to the college football ideas. There's not just a lot of them incoming. My phone's not ringing off the hook with, hey, here's another way to look at it here now. Boy.
Oh, I couldn't be any happier with the way that went.
This is all getting clipped.
It's so much better than listening. Because I listened to the Sankey
man.
clip this morning, and this is so much better.
Let's see if I can find some more quotes here.
Well, I can summarize. So the couple points beside the ones that were so eloquently laid out by
athletic directors are telling me we've given away too much to arrive at these political compromises. Yeah. How many of those compromises does it take? Oh, he is pissed, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really fiery. Yeah, he was all kinds of fired up. Because again, his member institutions, which he does say that is his responsibility, not the world of college football. He feels that a lot of people inside his conference are telling him that he needs to push harder and that he has been the one that has kind of talked him off the ledge and was like, no, this is for the good of the game. So he is saying that they are acting in the best interest of college football, and people are coming back at him saying, why aren't you interested in acting in the best interest of college football? And that pisses him off.
Well, it should. And then he says, his last little salvo here, at least on this story, is, ultimately, I recognize I'm the one who ends up in front of the podium here now, explaining not just myself, but ourselves. So, yeah, good luck to me here now.
Basically saying, if you need someone to play the villain, we'll play the villain. And, he went on, and Lane Kiffin said this today, too. He said that under this format, there is a chance the SEC could cost themselves teams in the playoff. And this is true. Like I said, if we went back and looked at the 16-team playoff as the way it would have been last year, they probably would have had an extra, like a 6-team bumped out for a BYU because of the two automatic qualifiers for the Big 12. So, yes, in that instant, it would cost them that. So, and this idea, like someone said, well, what happens when in a couple years when the ACC up and the Big Ten is down? I think the point is that's not going to happen due to revenue. And if it does happen due to revenue and all of a sudden the ACC is the big stick, then this will be revisited. This is about leverage. But the bottom line is you have two conferences that have payouts around $30-something million, and you're going to have two that are going to be paying out $80+ million. I'm sorry, but if you think the Big 12 or the ACC is getting ready to rise up and all of a sudden have 6 dominant teams, it's not happening. But if it does happen year after year where ACC teams are getting screwed over, then yes, it will be readdressed. But in what world, by the way, are you going to get 6? I mean, think about that. Think how silly an argument is. Go find me the 6 teams in the Big 12 and the SEC and the ACC that within the next 8 years are going to rise up, all 6 of them, and be top 15 teams.
Rock chalk.
It's a ludicrous statement. And then to the person saying, there was another one on here. You said, I think it was Andy. He said he was a lifelong Duck fan, and he said, I am uninterested in a sport where only 30 to 40 teams have a chance at winning. Again, I asked that person, in what world have you been living? In what college football world where there are more than 30 or 40 teams every year that have a chance? If anything, this system that we have, this new format, is going to provide more opportunities than ever before. We used to play in a world where we didn't have a championship game. You could go undefeated or be a one-loss team and not play for a national championship. We had split national championships, for God's sakes. Then we lived in a world where we just picked 2. And then it went to 4 and then 12. So anyone saying that somehow this is restricting the ability to win and play for championships, you're fooling yourself if you think that any year there's 30 teams that have any team that's capable of winning a championship. You don't understand the way college football works. And if anything, if you're going to make the argument of that, this format here provides more access than in the history of college football. We like to pretend that we had it great before and that somehow this is ruining it. Is it perfect? No, but it's a hell of a lot better than it's ever been in the world of college football. And let me point out, in the 1980s, BYU won a national championship, for God's sakes. And by the way, I think beat one ranked team.
Well, here's another sad little part of this, is that if you put Alabama in the tournament and not BYU, guess what gets better ratings? Alabama.
Exactly.
Even if BYU is more deserving. And I get that's not fair, but that's the way it is.
Yes.
All right, there's a little college football talk.
Are we Greg Sankey?
Dustin May.
Dustin May sucks!
Are we what? What'd you ask?
Are we Greg Sankey stands now? Do we?
Oh,
I see why
our
he's
drop
pissed.
board's about to be. We got some gold here.
Community Theater Atticus Finch. You're welcome.
Dude, I'll just tell you right now. You doing Greg Sankey as Foghorn Leghorn.
That's what he sounds like.
I will never not be able to hear Greg Sankey any other way. It's like now when I think of Harry Carey, I only think of Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey. And this will now be anytime I hear Greg Sankey, I'm just going to be thinking of you playing Greg Sankey.
When I hear Greg Sankey talk now, I'm just going to assume when his sentence ends, there's a "here now" coming.
Here now.
Yeah, now. Ah.
Wow.
Yeah, Derek May just gave up a 3-run.
Dustin May.
Derek May? Who's this Derek May?
He just gave up a 3-run jack. Maybe Buck was right all along.
Oh, we're 2 runs away from the over, and we're in the
It's
bottom of the fourth.
4-3 Dodgers in the fourth, and he had the over at 8.5. Come on.
It's a lock at this point.
Oh, whoa, careful now.
You're an idiot, Sue.
Trying to jinx Buckley's
Yeah, you are. I can see what you're
little
doing.
action there.
All right, coming up next, we have in the news, the Rose Festival is underway, and a new fun game. What will these stolen animals be used for? Here's Buck.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on the Fan, big news in Blazerland on Monday night as Portland sends Anthony Simons to the Boston Celtics along with 2 second-round picks. In exchange, they get Drew Holiday, who still has 3 years and $110 million left on his current deal. New reports just out of the NBA that Holiday was aware he could be a cap casualty with the second apron looming, but he is reportedly, quote, pissed that he's ended up in Portland. Meanwhile, Blazers small forward Matisse Thybulle has picked up his $11.5 million player option for the upcoming season. Down in the Big Easy, the Pelicans sending former Blazer C.J. McCollum as well as Kelly Olynyk and a second-round pick to the Wizards in exchange for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the 40th overall pick in tomorrow night's draft. The Mariners looking for another win up in Minneapolis tonight as Luis Castillo is on the hill for the M's. They currently have a 5-1 lead early in this one. It's still just the bottom of the third inning. And as for the Mariners scoring, Julio Rodriguez has a sac fly, Cal Raleigh with an RBI single, and Donovan Solano with an RBI single as well. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley, the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Curtain missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
The Hot Corner, now in its Primetime with Isaac and Suk on 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back to Primetime, a best of edition. I have put together a couple of my favorite Joey Harrington interviews from some of our recent chats, our story times. And this one was on the heels of, well, a little bit of excessive drop board material and led to one of my favorite stories I have ever heard Joey tell, and it has nothing to do with his football career.
Here he is, having the time of his life, J. Joseph Harrington, for story time. Fresh off vacation, I'm told. Is that correct?
Sometimes you need a vacation from your vacation. It was one of those things where it's like, hey, let's, we don't have any soccer. Let's get out of town for the weekend. And then it was like, oh my God, we're trying to coordinate everything and everybody, and you just end up running yourself ragged. But yes, it was nice to, leave the town for a few minutes.
Where'd you go?
We were to Black Butte.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, sometimes vacation can be more tiring than just leading your day-to-day life.
Especially when you're the leader, like Jay Joseph.
Yeah. Now, do you lead the vacation, or is that a Mrs. Harrington leads the vacation?
I think we take turns. I think based on, not like your turn, my turn, but where are we going? Who's kind of planning what type of trip? Is it just a quick trip? Are we involved in family or other friends? It just kind of, falls into place, but we both take on those type of roles. Interestingly, though, I had you guys come up you guys come up in conversation a couple times in the last week, but over that vacation. Do tell. And you may or may not want to hear this story on air, but you know what? I'm going straight for it.
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Let's get it.
So I ran into, and so I'm not going to use names.
Okay. They've been changed to protect the innocent.
And yes, this is Michael J. We've only using his last initial to protect his anonymity. I had a mother tell me, jokingly, or maybe not, when you talk to Suk next, tell him to stop using the B word.
Ooh.
I was like, what are you talking about? He said, because Dad was driving home with kids in the car, and you called somebody or something a bitch.
Yeah.
And so
unbelievable.
And so the kindergartner comes in from the car, and they sit down at the dinner table, and he looks at his sister and goes, "Hey, you're a freaking bitch."
Oh my God.
Whoops.
And so he says, "Where did you hear that from?" And the dad is just like, "Oh my God." No sooner did they get into the car the next time, you hit the button to turn the radio on, and it was the first word that came out.
Suk, you're unbelievable. Why do you do this?
And here's the thing. Like, I am guilty of that, but the king of that word is sitting across from me, and that's the weirdest thing. Is
she said, "Tell Suk,
and this is
not say the B word."
And look, I am owning up to my fair share of the B word, but what are the odds you turn into the station and you hear someone use the word bitch, and it's not you? That's like Rob's favorite word. We have like so the fact that it was me and back to back, that's like when the pitcher hits a home run. That is not what's supposed to happen. No, Isaac Robb is the power hitter.
There's some deflecting going on here, Joey. I'll try to have a talk with him.
I'm just laughing
privately.
because I'm picturing this kindergartner walking into the house with a big old smug look on his face, sitting down at the table and looking at his older sister and saying, "You're a freaking bitch."
Look, you learn it somewhere.
You learn, yeah. It's,
you know what I'm saying?
It's the internet now, and it's music, and
don't blame us.
Yeah,
blame the world.
Yeah, blame the world. Blame the world.
Yeah, it's bad out there. Wow. What was the other one?
Let's see. Oh yeah, I apparently we've got some potential roof damage was looking at it with the contract the other day, and I think the gutters may have been installed incorrectly at some point. Water's backing up underneath and now dripping out from under the soffit kind of thing. And we're looking at it, and I was like, oh boy, this isn't going to be fun, is it? He's like, no, we could come at it from this way, but probably the best way is to, start demoing under the soffit there and just look and see how far up it goes. I was like, oh God. And he paused for a second and he said, you might want to have Isaac and Suk up your pay rate because this one might get expensive.
Oh, nice.
As someone that is currently looking at having to do a new roof, let me tell you, it's depressing. I got in the next, 6 months to a year, I got to redo my roof. And I don't know if you've been in the roof game, but I had an idea of what a roof cost. Wrong. It was like shopping for beef jerky. It's an alarming number.
Yeah, we did the roof a while ago, and not a while, so call it maybe 7 to 10 years ago. Yeah. And then we had the gutters that we redid that, and I think that's so then it's backing up underneath. So it's not the actual roof, which actually may be worse. I don't know, because now we may have some rot and all that fun stuff. So the third one is I met this wonderful one named Judy last night at an Oregon Club event down in Salem. I was emceeing for a little thing with Dan Lanning, and Judy apparently listens every Friday, and she will sit in her driveway and finish the segment because she's driving home from school. And I was like, that is really wonderful. So I'd tell Judy hello. She said that yesterday.
That's cool.
Shout out to Judy.
What's up,
Judy? Judy sounds like a great lady.
Now, don't call her the B word.
Now we're not going to say that B word. Nope.
Nope.
That's going to be just Judy, just a great lady.
How's our man Dan Lanning this time of year?
How is he?
Yeah. Tan, rested, stressed.
No, I would.
Is he ever rested?
I don't think he is.
Like, you couldn't pay me enough to be I mean, that's probably not true, but that's the question. Because you see, like all the college coaches, when they're in season, like that's the good stuff, right? That's sure they're burning the candle at both ends, but it's football. It's what you love. It's scheming somebody up. It's having a payoff on Saturday where you see how well you prepared. And this part of the year with recruiting and it's become not just recruiting of high school players, but now it's recruiting of your own players, and it's recruiting of players from other schools. And it's recruiting of donors, which is, last night there was a fundraising event. I mean, guys like Dan are literally they're on all time. And I asked him, I was like, when are you gonna get a break? He says July. Like that's, and that's what the off season looks like for college coaches now. And that's not that anybody needs to feel sorry, for the guys. I mean, they chose the profession and know what they're getting into, but it has changed significantly in the last, transfer portal and NIL, where, their off seasons have significantly changed because what they are required to do to keep their program afloat has significantly changed.
Yeah. And I know, it's genuine, right? You like kids, like you're recruiting, but the idea of having to placate 18 and 17-year-old kids and
jump in pools with them.
I honestly, I don't care the money. I think I'm incapable of doing it. I think I'd be bad at it. I don't think I have a good enough poker face to hide my emotions. Yeah, my disdain for that stuff. And you really do. Like when you're a coach like that, I mean, I'd say 70% of the battle is being able to read kids and connect with them. And it's I don't know. It's picking someone up. It's being able to convince someone that this is the environment you want to be in. And I think that's got to be tough when you're dealing with the whims and everything that goes on with today's athletes.
Sure. That is with today's athletes. I mean, there's one thing to recruit a high school kid. What's our predate. 10 years ago, when did NIL start? 5 years ago?
Yeah, NIL is just a handful of years. We've only been into it for a few
so let's
years.
call it pre-2020.
Yeah.
Okay. Recruiting is just building a relationship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like trying to make a sale. You don't walk in the door and say, "Hey, you want to buy some widgets?" It's spending time getting to know the person, the family, and that's not so bad. Now, sure, I always said that I wouldn't want my family's well-being to be tied to the decisions of a 19, 20, 21-year-old male. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. But now we're to the point where, some of the coaches were telling me that they will go, it's now legal to go into other teams' facilities to recruit players that are transferring. So being in the way I was hearing from one of the coaches about being in Michigan, this was a couple of years ago, about being in Michigan State's Michigan State's weight room, recruiting a player who is going to be transferring. And then at the same time that you're in somebody else's facility, you have to recruit the player who already exists in your facility, you're trying to make sure they stay. And at the same time, you're trying to convince this, like you said, this 17-year-old kid that you need to jump in a pool with because he wants to make an Instagram reel about it. The transferring and the payment has added such a burden to these coaches where it's not just building a relationship and saying, "Hey, Mom and Dad, I want to take care of your kid for 4 or 5 years. Like, trust me that I'm going to do right by him." It has completely changed the game to where there's never a moment when you can sit down and feel like you're comfortable. Yeah. Because no matter where you are, you may have 3 of the best players in the country, right? You may feel great about your pick a running back room, your tight end room. But if number 2 and number 3 don't see the field enough, then they're not there tomorrow. I mean, I don't know. It's tough.
This is why Chip went to the NFL.
Yeah. I read an article today. I wish I remember who had it. It was one of the college football writers, Ross Dellinger or Andy Staples or something. It was one of those links, and I clicked on it, and they said that I guess back in let's go pre-2020, to get a 5-star kid on campus, you had to slip a few bucks, right, to the kid under the table, and that was known. It was, a couple $1,000, and that kid would come to your school, and even if he wasn't that interested, it was still important to get 5 stars on your campus, and the idea that these kids are looking at your program. But they said now that obviously the NIL and all rules are off, they're saying that is a legitimate recruiting cost now, and not just 5-star kids, that you have to pay to get kids on the campus. And I guess coaches, according to this article, are saying that some of the numbers are getting astronomical just to get a kid to show up on your campus. And the fear is that number is going to keep going up. And it's like, NIL is already one thing, revenue sharing, but now even if you're interested in a kid, you gotta pay just for him to come and consider you. Like there's like, I think the idea was that the coaches are fearful that this never ends.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Until there's some sort of governing body that has the guts to say this is these are the rules that we're all going to play by. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't stop.
Well, imagine now having to decide. You're like, hey, I think we're in on this 4 or 5-star kid, and we're in the top 3, but we really don't think we're probably the favorite for him. And we bring him on campus, we might be able to because that was the whole thing. Like with Oregon, they always say you don't want Oregon to get the last crack at him. Like you can make a big impression. But now, let's say if the kid's asking for 50 G's, just to show up, do you have to make a decision now? Is it worth it to spend the money to try to woo the kid, or it's a long shot, so now you just got to pass? It's one more element to the 365 recruiting cycle that I guess some coaches, shocking, the coaches are being like, God, it's just one more thing we have to deal with.
Well, it's the natural evolution because high school kids are now, they all have agents.
Yeah.
This is beyond, you used to not be allowed to have an agent until you when you were done with your college eligibility, right? Yeah. Agent took over, negotiated there, because the agent's job is to negotiate everything that they possibly can in your best interest, right? Well, since these NIL deals are now so lucrative, the agents, and I was talking with the guy who represented me when I was playing, like, he is now signing high school kids and that's what everybody has to do, is you have to pick a kid as a sophomore, junior in high school and start recruiting them, banking that they are going to potentially make the NFL someday, right? And so if you are signing a high school kid in the attempt to negotiate their contract with the university, well, if you're acting in their best interest, well, then you're going to handle their recruiting process as well, right? So if I've got if my agent, for instance, he negotiated with the Detroit Lions when I had my contract and I got drafted, but he also negotiated with EA Sports, and he also negotiated with Nike and with Levi's or whoever it is that, hey, what are some other revenue sources that I could get for my client? Well, there you go. That's the next revenue source, is not just getting paid to play, but getting paid to visit. It's not going to stop until there are some sort of enforceable rules that are put in place. This is going to continue to grow and continue to, they're just going to keep finding new ways to try and make these kids money.
This is our friend Joey Harrington with us each Friday, courtesy of Mods PDX. When we come back, we will wrap up this discussion. I have a perhaps unanswerable Oregon sports question for you, but if anybody can answer it, it's you. And yeah, I was thinking about it today driving in. So and it pertains to this conversation. I'm going to toss that at Joey coming up next here on The Fan.
That's not quite accurate. We will hear more Joey coming up next on The Fan, but instead it'll be the power rankings of meat that's coming up next on The Fan.
Yeah. The home of dirt and on 1080 The Fan.
Welcome back to Primetime. As usual with Joey, we are up against it, but this best of with Joey, Isaac, and Suk, meat rankings.
All right, we're back with Joey Harrington, and before we get to your meat rankings, now we're talking about this because Suk had a delicious-looking lamb slider today, and I asked him from where because he was heating it up in the kitchen, and it looked like a leftover. It was not.
Hold on. I'm sorry. In the break, I started eating some Thai food, and I got
it's spicy.
Okay, hold on,
Spicy.
Little spicy.
Got you.
A little water.
Yep.
Reheating lamb in the office microwave.
Yes, that's right.
I would say is just a step below reheating fish in the office microwave.
Wow.
Hot take.
Because lamb can get gamey now. Lamb can get that funk to it.
Yeah, I don't know. Was there a funk in the bread? Quite frankly, there was a hot honey on there with some like stinky cheese crumbles.
I can't say I knew that about lamb. I mean,
you never heard or
No.
thought of lamb as like a gamey meat? I'm not saying it even compares with like the smell of like, day-old shrimp or something, but like there are a lot of people that don't enjoy the smell flavor of lamb. It's a very polarizing protein.
Yeah, lamb is a controversial meat. I will give you that. If we're power ranking meats and a lamb is in your top 3, that's going to be a topic of discussion. People, and I don't know why, but people push back on lamb a lot. And quite frankly, I'm not about it.
Well, it's not for everyone.
But
he made his own lamb slider. I wanted to give him credit.
Well, I did not.
They were homemade.
They were homemade. The
BTJ.
The BTJ. Those did not come from my hands. I can assure you of that.
But it looked like it was from a restaurant.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking? We
were power ranking. We were
ranking
talking about
meats.
power ranking meats, but you said that like lamb is that's essentially like makes my point is lamb is not for everybody. Yeah. There are people who are like, oh hell no, I'm not doing lamb.
I did offer Rob one of my delicious lamb sliders, and I don't believe he even considered it. I did not. He just went right by.
No, I declined. I'd already eaten. I don't like to eat twice.
I think it might have been the lamb. Okay. I think you're anti-lamb.
I'm pro lamb actually. I'm pro lamb. I can do lamb. You know what I can't do? Duck. Dislike duck.
Really? You don't like a crispy duck?
I don't. I think it's disgusting.
Buck's giving you a thumbs down right now. That's a disappointed. That's a disappointed thumbs down.
Can we establish some ground rules here before we get going?
Absolutely.
Sure. Okay. So we are obviously separating out different types of fowl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Because we talked duck. Duck is different than chicken.
Sure.
Chicken is different than turkey. Okay. Are we including all? So is all fish the same? Is halibut the same as salmon? Is the same as shrimp?
No.
Okay. Shellfish. How
let's be
do we
specific.
feel about mollusk?
I think we have. By the way, I love the fact that we've now used the term mollusk. No, I think you have to be specific. If you're into shrimp, you're into shrimp. But if you're into, shrimp and scallops, two very different things. A nice piece of whitefish, very different than salmon.
This is what leads to the next thought. Is a T-bone the same as a sirloin? Is ground beef 85-15 the same as ground wagyu?
No.
Like where are we on that?
Again, be as specific as possible when you power rank your top 3 meats.
Yeah, because I think you could say steak and all encompassing. Like if you're a steak man, I get it. Sometimes
you
like
what steak.
Well, I think sometimes you like a New York, sometimes like a T-bone, maybe you like a ribeye. But
pick one.
I think steak. I think steak and ground beef obviously are two very different things. But I feel like if you said steak is number 1, I would accept that and not pin someone down to say, you need a bone-in ribeye.
No, I will not. I will not accept that.
Rob's
coming hard
because I think that a fillet is significantly different than a marinated piece of hanger.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, it is.
Correct. So what do we got? The people want to know.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh. Yeah, we're
why don't you get?
They don't care about
us.
us.
Starting with 3-2. Well, we all have to participate in this.
Oh, okay.
Well, I know Rob's anti-chicken. I'll tell you that right now. Rob craps on chicken.
He's anti-duck. He's anti-chicken.
Yeah, he doesn't like the birds.
Chicken's mid.
Rob needs something that's made for the plains. He wants something that's good in the high winds.
That's right.
Okay, so Rob, where are we going? Are we just going like 3 cuts of beef? Is that kind of the direction we're going?
No, I'd actually put if you included fish and we're going to fish.
Mm-hmm.
I'll include a nice piece of white halibut in my top 3.
Of course, Rob gets the whitefish.
That's delicious.
You old man.
Absolutely delicious.
Okay. All right. Is that number 3 for you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. I'm thinking. I want to make. See, I take lists very seriously, and I didn't plan on participating here.
We've
and
thrown
so
him into a.
I really need to think about.
I know.
this.
That's why I'm actually dragging you into this so that I can have some more time to think about my list because I feel the same way.
I know.
Well, I'll go number 3.
This is why we like Joey. He's thoughtful.
I'm taking 3 here, and it's a controversial one. And if you asked me a couple years ago, I probably would have not had this. But I went to Iceland a number of years ago. I went to the motherland, and they don't really have beef there. It's just they don't have enough grasslands to raise cows. So you're either eating fish. They do have some reindeer, caribou, but most of what they eat is lamb. And I'll tell you what, I got a taste for that lamb. And now if I sit down and there is lamb on the menu, I order it every time. Like if I see a lamb chop, it's a lamb chop. I go with a lamb stew. It just so like my lamb sliders. So I'm going, and I know it's controversial. It's not for everyone, but I'm saying the versatility of it, and it's delightful in so many forms. I'm taking lamb number 3, which is different than mutton. Mutton's very tough, but lamb, ooh. Now you got to come over sometime for some hot honey lamb sliders. It's a game changer. Rob screwed up by not having one.
So he's Rob went. You've got lamb. Rob went whitefish. I'm going Dungeness.
Ooh, you take a little crab. All
Very
right.
nice. Very nice.
I'm going Dungeness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very highbrow
Number 2.
of you.
Number 2.
Number 2.
For me, it's frog.
Wait, what?
I'm just kidding.
He's being a jackass because he's stressing right now.
I am.
He does take his list very seriously, and you don't realize like he is thrown for a loop right now because he's processing and he doesn't know where to go with number 2.
So where's yours? So Suk, let's fill a gap. Right. I'm ready to go.
I'm taking this, and again, as specific as we can get, because I would just say pork, but I don't feel like people are going to. Yeah, people are going to be like, oh, pork, but. If you're giving me, if I can just say pork, because I now when I go to steakhouses, again, I'm ordering a lot of pork chops. The pork chop at Michael Jordan's or at Ox, I'm telling you, game changer. But if I had to be very specific about what kind of pork, I'm going pork belly. Pork belly. You can, because it's we do a lot of obviously Asian cooking at my house, and the pork belly is so versatile in so many Asian dishes. Whether you're doing strips, whether you're doing cubed, whether you have the crispy skin or not, but you can put it in noodle dishes, in ramen, in rice. A really good, especially a spicy pork belly. I'm telling you that's pushing number 1 for me. But pork, or specifically pork belly, comes in at number 2.
Well, so interesting that you and I are sitting in this spot, which I think will make sense in a moment. I'm gonna. In the same way that you kind of doubled up on the pork, I'm going to double up on the steak and say either a fillet or like a marinated like skirt steak, like with a lot of cumin and
there you go.
You know, so like I'm going to go steak there, but kind of like hedge my bet of A and 2A and 2B with like a nice salty like medium rare fillet. Or then like a charred, like a skirt steak hanger.
This is exciting because you know what that does? That makes us wonder what might be his number 1.
I know.
You know?
I thought steak would be number 1.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because it is on mine.
Sure.
Now, number 2, I'm gonna go with brisket burnt ends. Number 2.
So good.
I absolutely love them.
Good.
And I grew up in the Kansas City barbecue the style.
I am so hungry right now.
And so I'm going number 2.
I'm actually taking a bite of my Thai food, so go ahead.
Yeah, so that ironically he's eating Thai food.
Thai food. Burnt ends are so good.
Yeah, I'm
They're
gonna go burnt ends.
so criminally underrated.
Yeah, they really are.
I like where you went with that.
So I'm going that number 2. Okay, we're up to number 1, guys.
Yeah.
This is important. Our top 3 meats. Suk?
All right. This isn't anything like groundbreaking. I mean, I think this for a lot of people, dude, it's above everything else. I love the pig. I love I love duck. I love lamb. There's so many good things, but you can't beat cow. You just can't. Cow is number 1. It's always number 1. And if I have to be specific with cow, it is simple. It is a well-marbled, boned-in ribeye with a nice crispy crust. I want you to sear the living hell. I want the edge of that thing to be black, and then maybe a nice Cajun seasoning to it. And then right in the middle there, you go with a perfect medium. Oh, it doesn't get any better than that. I could eat. And then you need the bone in though, because then it may just be fat and caveman of me, but there is just something great when you're done. I don't care what restaurant, how nice it is. I'm picking up that bone and I'm gnawing on it. We're taking a lap around that bone when we're finished. I'm just grabbing that thing like a young toddler grabs like a Crayola crown, and I'm just mowing on it. It just doesn't get any better.
Anybody else a little bit bothered by how intricate he was getting with with the end? I was like, oh my God, when's he going to stop?
No, because I'm passionate. Like if we're getting like a steak to split, sometimes you do like, you do a meal for two or whatever. I'll just tell you right now, don't you dare touch that bone. You'll pull back a bloody stump. That bone's mine.
No, I have to go steak.
Yeah.
Number one, but I think it is a little controversial that I'm going to choose. It is not the best steak. It's never thought of as the what would be the word, like
the prime most, like whatever.
Well, the most
flavorful
steak. Maybe that would probably be the ribeye, right?
Yeah.
I'm going with the New York strip.
Well, they do call it the king of steaks.
Dude, I love a good New York strip. And oftentimes, being from Kansas, I'm a little snobby in a sense that you just don't put anything on your steak. It's just meat. Yeah. Cut the meat, eat the meat. But when you get the blue cheese crumble,
maybe a garlic butter or something.
Garlic butter top of a with a strip, I'm a sucker.
Well, I thought when you said that, when I was terrified that you were gonna like get like a fillet, and I was like, oh my God,
the fillet's good, but
dude, take your panties off and put on some big boy pants and get some flavor.
Joey just said fillet.
Yeah, but like when you get like a filet mignon, there's no fat on that. That's all.
The fillets are good.
Hey,
I'm going strip. Okay, what's
you salt and you sear it in the butter. Like that's
right. That's right. What's number one on Joey's list?
There is no. If it is on the menu at any restaurant, it's an automatic order for me. Is a bone-in pork chop.
Wow!
Look at that.
That is my. That's my weakness right there. And you know what? A lot of places, because people will like shy away because what happens is they overcook it.
Yeah.
Everybody's scared to undercook pork.
Yeah.
But if you can find a place that has like a bone-in pork chop. Maybe they put a good brine on it, or and then they do it just past medium rare, like a little now we're cooking with gas. So that's my number one.
I love that because a lot of times when I do go to steakhouses, I order the pork chop, and people look at me like they're like, "What? You're at a steakhouse?" I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm getting the best thing on the menu. If you go to Ox,
Bingo.
Which is my buddy's favorite place, the best thing on that menu is their pork chop. They do a delightful bone-in pork chop there.
Agreed. Greg and Gabby, hold it down.
I would like to, since we're each doing a local dish.
Yeah.
You did the ox. I'd like to hear Joey's. I offer the culotte from Laurelhurst Market. It is so good, so good. And they do a little. They kind of mix up what they put with it, like this puree type of thing. It's delicious. What about you? One dish in Portland, what is it?
Well, see, this is now we got issues because you mentioned Ox, and Ox was a huge support for our foundation, our chef off years ago, and then you mentioned Laurelhurst Market, and I played on the golf team with David Kreifels, and so it's like if I'm in Portland, I can't. If I choose one, then it's like I've offended somebody else.
Right? Okay. You're a man of the people.
So,
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm going to the Ghost Tree Grill at Bandon and getting the bone-in pork chop.
Yeah.
They have a good one out there, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I bet.
Get that next time I'm out
and
there.
Again, outside local, I went Portland, but I'm telling you, the MJ Steakhouse up at A, also a delightful bone-in pork
chop. You can't be doing honorable mentions here.
Well, we went in Portland. Now we were out.
Now we got to go another round.
He went out of Portland.
All right. Well, that was probably the most important Joey Harrington interview we've ever done.
Of all time.
Thank you.
One, we established the truth. And two, we talked about, actually, there was like a whole section in there where we didn't talk about swearing or meat. So it was kind of
Yeah. Thank you for your
well-rounded.
We appreciate your courage.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Adios.
That is J. Joseph Harrington, quarterback extraordinaire. We're back at the club next on The Fan.
Yeah, we got to keep it rolling. The club is coming up next on this best of edition of Primetime, 1080 The Fan.
Hey, it's Zook. Spring is here, longer days, warmer weather, so don't wait until you're sweating buckets to find out that your AC needs help. I love the high-efficiency train system A&E Plumbing, Heating, and Air installed at my house, and now's the time to book my checkup, and you should do the same. A&E is locally owned with a lifetime workmanship guarantee. That's right. If they don't do it right, they fix it for free forever. A&E is the real deal. Call A&E or visit aeheatingandcooling.com today. Your local independent train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. CCB number 203004.
Swag back with you for Forest Hills Golf Course out in Cornelius, my home course once again. Now we're into summer. Daylight as long as you can count. Plenty of time to get out and take advantage of the renovations that have been done, the ideal playing conditions, the multiple practice areas on the property. There's no reason not to book your tee time right now. The views are amazing. The value is outstanding. The greens are in excellent shape. Join me out there. I hope to see you. Book a tee time. GolfForestHills.com.
Summer is here. Time to prepare for those outdoor projects. Mr. Plywood has all the supplies you'll need to build or repair that fence, deck, shed, or raised garden bed, and can give you advice to help you save time and money. Serving the greater Portland area for over 50 years. See them today or online at mrplywoodinc.com.
30 years ago, Wu-Tang Clan changed hip-hop forever. Now, it's time for the final chamber. Live in Portland. Wu-Tang Clan, together, live on stage, the beginning of
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with the Sports Center update. First on The Fan, Monday night, big news for the Blazers as Portland sends Anthony Simons and a pair of second-round picks to Boston in exchange for Drew Holiday. Simons was the last player on Portland's roster from the Neil Olshey era. Holiday has 3 years and $110 million left on his current deal, and according to recent reports, Holiday is, quote, pissed about being sent to the Blazers despite knowing he might have been a cap casualty in Boston. Meanwhile, Blazers small forward Matisse Thybulle has picked up his $11.5 million player option for the upcoming season. And the Mariners back in action this evening. They're in Minnesota once again. They jumped out to a 5-1 lead, but the Twins stormed back with 4 runs of their own in the bottom of the 4th inning. It's currently tied 5-5 in the bottom of the 6th. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley, the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan Merch Locker has a new black 1080 The Fan hoodie, as well as classic long and short sleeve tees. Get yours now at 1080thefan.com. The following show may contain adult themes not suitable for children.
Shut the hell up.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Souk.
It does go well with a chicken.
I didn't know hanging out with you was making me smarter.
Full disclosure, Morty, it's not. Temporary superintelligence is just a side effect of the mega seeds dissolving in your rectal cavity.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and once those seeds wear off, you're gonna lose most of your motor skills, and you're also gonna lose a significant amount of brain functionality for 72 hours, Morty. Starting right about now.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Souk is brought to you by Pub Beer, the official beer of cheap fun.
At the club.
I've choked a coot.
It happens. Oh my gosh, I'm a filthy bastard. You literally just blow the hell out of these hogs. This son of a bitch. Holy cow.
Do not clip that, you son of a bitch.
He's a bitch.
Bye, bitch.
Google me, bitch.
Lace him up, you little bitch. Let's go.
That whiny bitch.
Freaking punch it, bitch.
I told you dumb bitch.
I mean, I love him, but what a bitch.
You freaking bitch.
She won't even return his calls, you freaking bitch. What is up with that? Bitch.
I would have slept with George Bush at that moment. I would have power bottomed the hell out of him.
I'm sorry. I want to run. He is just the definition of.
I do know that.
You rarely have good questions. What?
Hey, I had a new wiener the other day, and it was delightful. I am an ignorant boob.
Well, I really enjoyed the show. Thank you. Bye.
Thinking like some Bavarian milkers.
Thought you guys needed a little drop of Palooza on this best of Primetime with Isaac and Sue because the boys are out at the golf course. They're out at Langdon for the 11th annual Fan Golf Classic. We will keep things rolling here in the club, but we need to turn and burn as we get to our next segment. That's coming up next here on The Fan.
Check out the Fan Merch Locker.
There's a lot of people. It's like Woodstock, except everybody's got their clothes on.
We have a new iconic 1080
Kind of one of those like, I don't know about you, but like after being sick for like 3 or 4 days, do you just get stir crazy? Like
yes. It's like, and I don't even say 3 or 4. Like, if I'm homebound for like 48 hours, like really not going out, I start going nuts.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Like normally my gal is in a constant state of telling me to like rest. I'm not very good at just not doing things. And even she was like, maybe get out of the house today. Like she'd get.
So you went to Bimart?
I did. I went to Bimart.
Like any good human
and had an
would do.
experience of all experiences.
Yeah. When you don't know what to do and you've been hemmed up, go buy yourself a hedge trimmer at Bimart and get made fun of by a Vietnam veteran for wearing it. Just be aware that if you wear a Navy shirt, be careful. There may be an old crusty Marine that's got some choice words for you.
And he's not even buying anything.
No. That's the best part. Sir, you can go ahead of me. I'm not even buying anything. Wow. I just think, was he just waiting for Navy people? That make his whole day?
His pastime is just waiting to get into arguments about different branches of the military.
I kind of want to wear an Army shirt back in there. I want to see if like I can wear an Army shirt and find that guy. And would he say the same thing about the Army, or was it just the Navy?
And would he say the same thing about you? You couldn't hack it. Like, I mean, would that change depending on who you serve with?
Yeah, he would have run through a big boy like me back in the day. Lucky it's not 30 years ago. Yes, sir.
What are the top 3 places someone who wanted? How did you put it? You said start a military branch argument.
Yeah.
Hello? Are you paying?
Is
that what you said?
Yeah. Well, is his pastime essentially? Yeah.
Once again, Ryan Buckley not listening.
No, I am too.
I think you're onto something. I think Bimart's in the
what
top
are the
3
top
or 4.
3 places? I think I would imagine one is like the old Shriners Club, or like
that's pretty good.
You know, like the Eagles Club
and Elks
Lodge
VA.
Clubs. Yeah, the VA. Well, certainly the VA. There you go. That's number 1.
Off the top of my head, I thought of Bimart, Harbor Freight Tools, a nice Golden Corral. I feel like if you go to a Golden Corral, you will get competition between the Marines, the Army, and the Navy boys.
Between discount consumption like Bimart, between like home improvement, like and then
discount home
and then a
improvement,
buffet.
like a Harbor Freight.
I think you've got and freight, but and then buffet. I think you've got your bases very well covered.
And yes, definitely an Elks or a Lions Club. Someone says Elks or Lions Club of Battleground Washington, you will get some competition. But what I liked from my man today is it wasn't enough to be wearing the Vietnam veteran hat. He had to throw the vest on to go with it. You don't really see the vest very often, especially on a day where it was 90 degrees. But he felt very comfortable in that. Like, I thought that guy was great. I don't know if that dude was just like trying to get a razz, but that was the best part of my day.
Well, so you know he was there for Lucky Number Tuesday.
I would assume so.
That's why he wasn't buying anything, but he was checking his numbers. Because you have to go in and show them your number if you're going to win.
And then someone pointed out on the text line earlier that the way they design the stores is that you essentially have to go through the checkout to get out, kind of like
you do.
In casinos you have to go through the gambling floor to leave. And so maybe
you might as well buy something.
If he's there for the numbers and he's not buying anything, it would stand to reason he's still got to get through a line.
I do enjoy the fact, though, that I believe he picked the line just to heckle me for wearing my...
Oh, that I believe.
For wearing... I can't say what he called the Navy boys, but... Bunch of candy asses, those Navy boys.
All right.
That guy was fantastic. And let me just say, I'm excited about my new hedge trimmer.
Boy!
Yeah. I haven't done anything.
Did you get a nice discount?
I did. Well, it was already at a low price, and then I found out it was $30 off. And let me tell you something. The lady that was near death checking me out, she was very excited about the low price I was getting on the hedge trimmer. Great value. Couldn't be any happier with it.
All right, Tom Cruise is now in the Guinness Book of World Records
as the oldest middle-aged lesbian to jump out of a airplane at
with
30,000
a middle
feet.
tooth. Yeah.
And boy, his face every time I see him looks more and more stretched out.
Well, I mean,
I just can't get over how stretched it is at this point. And it makes me scared for when I'm going to see him next.
Have you seen Wayne Gretzky lately?
What he will look like. Yeah, I have.
I believe that they may be in some sort of competition to see whose face can morph the greatest.
They made a movie about it called Face Off.
Dude, I'm telling you, if Wayne Gretzky and Tom Cruise switched faces, you wouldn't notice a difference. Throw Keith Urban in that mix. It's getting freaky.
Well, he's not just an action star.
No.
With a stretched face. He is a world record holder, and we'll tell you why next on The Fan.
No Tom Cruise next on The Fan, but the club will keep rolling right now. A SportsCenter update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on The Fan, the Blazers on Monday night shipped Anthony Simons to the Boston Celtics along with 2 second-round picks. In return, they get Drew Holiday, the 3-and-D man, coming to Portland for the second time in his career. Holiday has 3 years and $110 million left on his current deal. According to recent reports, Holiday is, quote, pissed that he has been dealt to Portland. Meanwhile, the Celtics have also dealt Kristaps Porzingis to the Atlanta Hawks. Shedding both Holiday and Porzingis' salaries are going to save the Celtics $180 million against the tax. Meanwhile, Blazers small forward Matisse Thybulle has picked up his $11.5 million player option for the upcoming season. And down in the Big Easy, the Pelicans are sending former Blazer C.J. McCollum along with Kelly Olynyk and 2 second-round picks to the Washington Wizards in exchange for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and the 40th overall pick in tomorrow night's NBA draft. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
More, please. Golf in the Northwest with Jason Swigart is back. Saturdays at 8 a.m. before the Sinner and the Saint.
Who's winning? What is occurring?
Why are you so confused?
I don't know.
What's the matter?
Well, he's on an emotional.
Wow!
Look, you can't expect him to come off a bronze medal performance in the sprint tri-glide.
Yeah, I'm depleted. I'm still replenishing my resources,
And
including
expect
my
to be back on
producing.
Monday and be perfectly sharp. I mean,
pressure's on.
Pressure
Bitch.
is on. Well, now, next time he competes, like, we're accepting nothing but medal stands.
That's right.
I mean, it's bronze or bust. Come on.
Well, the first video, so we're talking about current events here. Of course, among the current events is a war between Iran and Israel.
I'm also amazed that, like, again, this goes to prove my theory that I believe that nothing lasts in the news cycle for more than like 48 hours before we just move on. Last week, Israel, seemingly without letting anyone know that it was coming, whatever, just launched killed a bunch of Iranian leaders, blew up some nuke facilities. Iran's launching back at Israel now. It's a full-blown Middle East war. We got the POTUS on there basically saying, you know, get bent, Iran, like this is your fault. And it barely makes a ripple. It was like front page news for like 12 hours. And then today it was like page 6.
He took to Truth Social to say, Iran should have signed the deal. Quotes on deal. I told them to sign. What a shame. What a waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran.
Yeah, by the way, it's a city of 10 million people.
Yeah.
You're
right now saying that innocent people are to die.
I went to MSN just now. I pulled that up. It is you have to do the click through. It is the 6th story on MSN.
What are the top 5?
Okay, let's go back. 5 new collar jobs that pay over $100,000 and don't require a bachelor's degree.
More people going to click on that than the war.
Tony Robbins sends strong message to Americans on 401ks.
More people going to click on that than the war.
Like, what? What are we?
Well, I think people are desensitized.
It's potentially World War III.
Yep. Well, people don't want to hear about that.
What the hell is going on?
What the hell?
I'm going to go to Yahoo and see where it's at on Yahoo.
Anyway, there is a video, and I'm not sure where. I assume it's somewhere in Israel.
Yeah.
But it is a wild vid. And somebody just put, 2025 is just the weirdest year.
Yes.
Because it's these rich people, and they're up on a rooftop. It looks like a rooftop bar, restaurant type of place, loungy type of place. And there's this dude playing a kind of a sexy tune on a saxophone.
Like the guy in the background right now?
Yeah, just like that. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of rich people all dressed up, basically just standing, filming with their phones all the missiles and mortars that are firing around the sky.
Well, I guess they put
it is the weirdest. Like, if you just look at that video and then listen to the guy playing the sax, it's like 2025 on drugs, and it's mind-blowingly awkward and weird.
Yeah, they I guess they put the I didn't know this. I guess the Iron Dome, right? Yeah, like, the Iron Dome, which by the way isn't working. Apparently the stuff's getting blown up. I guess the Iron Dome is just like caveats of whatever you call them, like I guess caches of missiles, and they just put it like in the middle of like neighborhoods. So when they're shooting at and shooting from the Iron Dome, like you said, it's just you could lean out your balcony and be like, there, big missile launcher like right below us. And
but it's just so weird that people are filming it as if it's like some fireworks show. It's a freaking war.
This is my point. Nothing anymore matters. Everything, like we see this like when the Las Vegas shooting happened. People are taking out their phones and being like, well, I got to get this on film. Everyone has to film everything, and no one cares anymore. So I went to Yahoo. Top story on the click-through Yahoo. Minnesota lawmaker shooting suspect charged with federal murder. Gwyneth Paltrow boyfriend breakfast topless on Instagram.
What?
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow's boyfriend doesn't have a shirt on at breakfast?
No, Gwyneth Paltrow made her boyfriend breakfast while she was topless.
Oh, okay. Well,
on Instagram.
Now that's a headline.
Sam Burns on the questionable ruling that may have cost him the U.S. Open.
Yeah, okay. Little gaff.
First came milkmaid dresses. Now tankinis are trending, sparking online debate.
Wait, what's a tankini? I love
Thinking like
this.
some Bavarian milkers.
What is that?
The tankini is where it's bikini bottoms and then like a...
It's more of a tank top bikini top.
Yes.
Like it covers more of the midriff. You know?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's that.
I love those headlines.
14,000-year-old mummified puppies weren't dogs at all, new research shows.
Whoa!
Dude, I'm in on all of these stories.
Hold on,
Upset
right here.
alert.
Chef named best fast food French fries, and their top pick was at McDonald's.
Wow! What are the well, see, I have to click on that. What did they choose? Dude, all of
Yeah,
this
who
is
had
better
the best
than
fritters?
Then we had the...
Wait! Click on the story!
I can't.
What do you mean you can't?
I've already moved on to Arkansas's Gage Wood fires historic
Dude,
no-hitter.
click on the damn story. Is this Yahoo? Is that what you said?
It's
I'm going to
Yahoo.
listen to nothing else you say. I'm going to go find that.
I would like to point out that I have to get to number 11 before I get Trump leaves G7 summit early after warning people in Tehran to evacuate immediately. It's number 11.
Yes.
Behind French fries.
Based on everything you just read, it should be. That's some hot stuff.
It's potentially World War III, and no one cares.
No, we don't.
No one.
French fries, would you say best?
Yeah, I had 4 chefs named their best fast food French fries, and their top pick wasn't McDonald's. In fact, the unanimous favorite came from an unexpected chain. Scrolling.
I've got it here.
Yeah. This is
Any guesses? Who
and
do you
it's
guys think
based
has
on
the best fries?
crispiness, seasoning, temperature.
So you have the executive chef at Francois Frankie in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
You have the chef and owner of Charlie's in St. Helena, California. You have the chef and owner of Prime in Providence in West Des Moines, Iowa. And you have the founder and owner of Taylor in Nashville, Tennessee.
And I will tell you, in my opinion, like when I think of fast food French fries, McDonald's kind of is the gold standard.
No doubt.
Everyone loves McDonald's fries.
Oh my God! You know what they select? Did you read what they selected?
No, I stopped scrolling.
Oh, well, I found it.
Well, I knew you had it. So
They had McDonald's second.
someone said, "Can you send me the link to that topless Gwyneth Paltrow article?"
I'm with him. I want to see that. Way more than I care about Iran. I'm going to show you my boobs. They chose Arby's curly fries.
Really?
Yes, they said best fast food French fries, Arby's curly fries.
Wow, dude, I can't tell you the last time I had an Arby's curly fry, but I think of the Arby's curly fry as being a delightful fry.
It's a nice fry.
But I always think that's kind of cheating because I don't think that's a real French fry.
Why? Because they're curly?
Well, it's different. It's I don't know. I think it's its own category. Because
Maybe that's why they're so great.
Well, and they're not all fries are kind of that golden color, that yellowish. The Arby's fry is like brown.
It's like a burnt orange to a brown.
Yeah.
Well, they said that's the different seasoning, and one of the chefs said that's exactly why he chose them.
Really?
Is because that seasoning gives it more flavor.
Huh.
It's more than just salt. So it's.
Do I need to go get a thing of Arby's curly fries now? I just don't. I would not have even thought to put Arby's curly fries in my top. I would have said, like, McDonald's has a good fry. I mean, maybe the gold standard. I think Wendy's does a nice fry. I'll tell you what, I don't like Burger King. I think the Burger King fries are bush.
They're not good. They did something many years ago I think they added like more starch or something to try and make them hold up better as they traveled, like make them last longer, and they got worse, and they've been worse ever since.
Yeah, it's no good.
So Paltrow, that was a topless. So
I have sent Rob down. Rob's like, Yahoo, you are
Yes.
on it with your top stories.
Those are great top stories. Apparently, she put out a cooking video.
Topless?
Yes. Where she has her shirt off.
Oh, yeah.
Or she takes her shirt off.
Yeah.
She's not in a tankini?
No,
she takes it off.
She takes it off.
And then she turns her back
Yeah.
to the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
clever girl.
She is cooking a high-protein skillet with sausage, white beans, spinach, cherry tomatoes, and eggs.
I just would like to point out that in our country, we have potentially World War III breaking out when clearly we could be involved, and our president is talking about potentially us being involved, and the Gwyneth Paltrow topless breakfast dominating the headlines.
And what top chefs think is the best fast food fry.
Wake me up when Gwyneth puts her shirt back on, okay? Then I have time for your World War III crap.
Then you got time. Like that, those poor the representative and the senator and their wives and husbands got gunned down.
Well, that was the number one. In fairness,
yes,
you said that was the number one, and in the U.S., that is the number one story.
Okay, good.
So that's fair.
That's at least that's something. Even though some people are making, we had another U.S. senator that was making fun of it.
Yeah, well, that's welcome to 2025.
He's got people,
but
we got people getting assassinated, and we're doing bits.
The other thing I want to tell you,
from colleagues. Did
you see that Europeans? This was in Barcelona and other, I think some other places in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking water guns to tourists. Have you seen this?
No, like just U.S. tourists, or just all tourists?
Just any tourists.
Okay,
because they're basically saying that there's so many tourists that it's driving up housing prices.
Yeah,
and it's pushing the locals out. And they're so pissed off.
They're taking to the
super
soakers?
They are going, yes, they're going water gun in the face of tourists at these particular Airbnbs and hotels. And some of the videos are wild. Like you would think they're protesting like
major.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to them, it's probably.
Well, it is a big deal. I'm just saying, like, it's just kind of a funny juxtaposition that they're really angry.
That all these people love their city or country. That they're coming to.
And they're using water gun. Like that's not like.
Oh yeah, I see it right here.
It's not. You're not harming anyone.
No, you're just.
But that is awfully.
Oh, yeah.
Like, can you imagine? You were over in Italy,
yes,
right? Recently.
Yes.
Can you imagine you and your buddies are just strolling through Venice, and all of a sudden this angry mob comes and starts to spray you down with water pistols?
Yeah. So I'm looking here. There's a video in Spain. Oh, and by the way, the BTJ and her friends are going to Spain like in October.
Be careful.
Be careful. So yeah, they're sitting at like restaurants, and there is a mob of like 30 people.
Yes.
Spraying them with water guns, chanting "Tourists go home."
Yes.
Wow.
And dude, I mean, how would you feel about that? Like, would you?
I think I would leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it's incredibly rude, but at the same time, I'm conscious of this. When I travel places, I often feel bad being part of the tourist mob. Because when you're in Venice especially, we went on that tour, we went on a walking tour with this historical society guy from Venice, and he said there's between 45 and 50,000 people that are in Venice that live there. And he's one of them. And he said on any given day in Venice, there's 150,000 people. I mean, and I asked him, dude, like, how do you live? And he goes, it's getting harder and harder. And I genuinely feel bad. And he even said that. It's funny. We just were talking to this guy a couple months ago when we were there. And he said the housing stuff is getting bad because everyone's buying the houses and turning them into Airbnbs. So if you do want to live there locally, it's screwing you over. And then all your neighbors are Airbnbs. And
I mean, to be honest with you,
it's a nightmare.
The only way, like, because, as a potential tourist, you read, like, if you just read about, hey, in Barcelona, they're having a real problem with tourists because, prices are going up and the locals are struggling. If you read that, you wouldn't probably think twice. You'd be like, oh, well, that's normal. That happens here.
Yeah.
But why they're smart by taking water guns to tourists is that now it's like, okay, the tourists actually have to feel something. Now, you can't harm them.
No.
So the water gun's kind of brilliant. Yeah. So you're not doing them harm, but you are getting your message across, and it is making headlines across the world.
And these people, like in the restaurant, they are getting up and leaving.
Yes. And they sprayed one guy outside of his Airbnb. Yeah. Dude, the guy was livid.
Yeah. Well,
but they sent their message.
Yeah. Boy, you got to be, I'll tell you what, though, man. Dude, you got to be careful. You get some jacked up USA bro.
Oh, dear.
I'm not sure he's going to be real happy about, he spent a lot of money to go over to Spain and America, yeah.
Well, that's their point.
Yeah. At least they can't have guns over. That's something, right?
People, no.
Gosh. Well, now seriously, that it is weird because I wasn't, but the missus is not planning. She is going to Barcelona and some of these places in a few months. Whoops. Something tells me, by the way, a group of Asians are going to stick out. All her friends are all Asians.
She's going to be targeted. Better watch
As
out.
are Asians.
Yeah, honey, I don't think you're going to blend in as a local. Who stands
Take
out
your
more?
butt out.
Her?
Shut up.
We will wrap things up next here on this Best of Edition Primetime 1080 The Fan.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Suk is brought to you by Pub Beer, the official beer of Cheap Fun.
Can I get a hot tub?
Well, that just about does it for us, or for me, here on this Best of edition of Primetime today. If you were out at Langdon Farms for the Fan Golf Classic, enjoying the round with the on-air staff, thank you for joining that. I know it's an awesome event, 11 years now, 11th annual that we've done that out there at Langdon. We will get a full recap from the boys tomorrow. I did see Suk by 11 a.m. was already on his second stogie of the day, so we'll see how things ended up for him in that regard. Something else that I think is certainly going to come up tomorrow in addition to the Blazers draft. We have the NBA draft tomorrow. I think that gets started at 5 o'clock. Blazers with the 11th overall pick. But the kid out of Florida State who's running his mouth about Alabama, he went out and said that basically the Seminoles are not afraid of Alabama because they're not the same since Nick Saban left. Seminoles play the Crimson Tide early in the season. Kid then went on to say that he doesn't think the ACC is much of a big deal either because he pretty much ran through that last year at Boston College. Well, Boston College went 4-8, and he got benched and then left the team a few days afterwards. So we'll see, and we will, I'm sure, discuss that as well as lots of Blazers. That'll be coming up tomorrow on Primetime. But for now, if you want to listen to any of what you've heard today, you can run it back over on our YouTube channel. We will have it up as a podcast as well. But thank you for hanging with us, especially if you were not out at Langdon today. No, it's not easy not having the boys here, but they will be back in their normal seats tomorrow. I've been Ryan Buckley for this best of edition of Primetime on 1080 The Fan. We will see you again tomorrow from 3 to 7. Good night.